Test, test. Okay, we're good. What up, NFT? I know you can't hear me, but what up? Fucking goddamn it. Yo, I'm here for like 5 minutes and then I'll scatter again. Damn, dude, you're gonna be locked into freaking ads the whole time. Opato, hi B. What up, dog? Oh, I guess that's not a B, that's an emoji. How's it going, Opato? Yippee, snack art. I just ran 3 minutes of ads on Twitch, so the ads are coming up. I don't know if you got hit by pre-rolls NFT or what the deal is, but there are more ads coming up. Just before I drop the Discord notification, and then we'll get into it. I'm good, and you? I'm chilling, dog. I'm chilling. I had a very I don't know. I was watching the streamer awards yesterday on Twitch, and I'm curious. There's some stuff I want to talk about, and I'm curious to know what your opinions are if you watch them at all, guys. Sup, Kitty Munch? What up, dog? What up, Jadu? Nah, the ads are scared of me. They wouldn't dare. Isn't that nice? Okay, how long do we have on these ads? Another minute and a half. Oh, I'm such an evil streamer, dude. God damn. Today, I'm hoping to finish this arm and maybe one boot. That's the goal for the next 5 hours. Some of it was pretty hard to watch. Yeah, some of it was pretty hard to watch. Once I drop the Discord notification, we'll jump into it. But I'm curious if you guys have opinions. Drop them now, and I'll comment on it. Do you like peanut, like burnt peanut, the streamer, or the actual food? I like the food, and burnt peanut is somebody I actually want to talk about because I think there's some interesting takes there, particularly for him winning VTuber of the year. I think that pissed a lot of people off. I think I look. I saw a lot of people on Twitter being like, "He's not a VTuber. He's not a VTuber." I think he's a VTuber, bro. Like, I don't think VTuber is just like tied to this concept of somebody who streams, an anime babe with big fat like succubus titties or whatever. I think a VTuber is a pretty broad concept. I think if you're a virtual like creator, you probably like you qualify in my opinion as a VTuber. That's just like I don't think it's limited to just anime people. So I actually think Burnt Peanut is really entertaining, and I think he did a really like I think he deserved it straight up. Like of all the VTubers that popped up in my mind, like he was on the list. Like if you would have asked me before the Streamer Awards who I would have thought would be on that list, Burnt Peanut would have been on there for sure, dude. I did not watch any of it. Tell me what your controversial opinions are. My most controversial opinion, I'll get into it in 2 seconds because I think the ads are up in 9 seconds. So I'm gonna drop the Discord notice so we can get more people in here to talk mad shit. But yeah, my most controversial opinion. I mean, I don't even think this is controversial. Tylil's a little bit of a bitch. I did not like the way he was fucking just a mad hater on everything. Like I get it, the whole like fan segment was kind of cringe. Flat is back. Flat's been here, Mellow Chi. I'm already flat chested. Tyler was he was being a little bit of a hater. I think the fan segment was a little bit cringe, but look, whatever, dude. The whole thing was supposed to be like fun, just poking jokes or whatever. It's normal for award shows, so I don't think that was too big of a deal. What are your opinion on Ghibli movies? That we'll talk about that another time. But anyways, so I didn't watch any of it. Tell me what your most controversial opinion. The whole floor segment was tough. Yeah, it was pretty cringe, dude. It wasn't great. But, you know, was it fucking catastrophic? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it deserves sort of the live hate that it got, but why wouldn't they be considered a VTuber? Do they not have an interesting model? I think a lot of VTubers online. Look, let's be real, guys. The whole VTuber like community and genre gets a lot of hate for being sort of, you know, cringe and putting on personas and all that stuff. So it's like, and that is kind of just the game with VTubers, right? A lot of VTubers are bombastic, they're over the top. They sort of do like silly voices, especially a lot of the female VTubers kind of they do like baby talk and stuff like that. Not literally baby talk, but they cute it up, you know, and I think a lot of people don't like that, and so VTubers get a lot of hate. I don't personally care. I think, you know, whatever helps you grow your platform and do your thing, take advantage, you know. But I think because he's not because the Burnt Peanut isn't seen as a conventional VTuber, like he's not part of that sort of anime sphere of VTubers or what people traditionally think is VTuber. I think he got a lot of shit for being nominated, but I don't think it was deserved, really. Now, the one thing that I will say was I have some opinions on the best art category for creative art streamer. That was a little to me that was a little what? Hey man, I'm alert for a bit. I hope you're doing well. Hey, no worries, dog. I appreciate you coming out, Mellow Chi. Thank you. Hello to maybe the best art streamer on Twitch. I didn't see my name in the nominations, so we're gonna get into that though. Yeah, so the best creative art streamer who won this year, drum roll please, was friggin' Amiru. This look, I gotta be careful here because my instinct is to get mad at Emiru for winning, but it's not her fault that she was nominated, right? Like you don't choose that as a streamer. You just kind of get nominated. So I don't think any hate should go towards Emiru at all. I do think that nominating somebody who doesn't do like okay, she I guess she does do creative arts. I think the concept was basically she won because she does cosplay. Now, my question is, does she make her cosplay or does she purchase her cosplay? Because to me, that's two different things, right? If we're assuming she makes it, then I would say that makes her a contender. My gripe would probably be that I think the primary like function of that category should be nominees that primarily do that as their focus on their channel, right? I think that's sort of my gripe. I checked Emiru's Twitch tracker just because I was curious what category she streams in. She hasn't streamed a single minute in the art category in like the last like year. So I don't really know. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the statistics I saw just weren't right. But I don't think I've ever seen her in the art category ever. Now that's not to say that creative arts is limited to the art category. Okay, there are lots of there's the arts, there's the crafts category as well. Music would probably apply to creative arts. There's a lot of stuff. It's a very broad category, right? I did see some people up there that are in the art category. Rose Doodle being one of them, who's a pretty big. She's actually, I think, one of the bigger VTubers here on in the art category. And I think I was a little disappointed that she didn't win. I don't really know much about the other ones. The whole Emiru thing, I just that didn't feel right for me a little bit, I guess. And it's not like I said, it's not the hate on her. It's not her fault that she got nominated and won. I just think it should be a little bit more pure art based if you're going to do a creative arts category, right? It'd be like me, let's say I was a really big streamer, right? Like I pull like a shit ton of viewers, and then one day I decide to play a video game, even though I never play video games. If I win Gamer of the Year, that would be absurd. You know what I mean? And I don't know how much of her stream is dedicated to cosplay fabrication and or like cosplays in general. But the idea that you don't really stream in the art category or any art category and you win Creative Artist of the Year is yeah, whatever, dude. That's probably my most controversial take on the whole streamer awards, other than it being a little cringe. Also, the fact that Hassan wore a fucking Mao outfit is kind of fucked up. I don't know why people don't think that's fucked up. That'd be like showing up in an SS uniform, dude. That's like kind of wild. I get that culturally it's not perceived the same way in like China, and I think the aesthetic is like still like it's not it's like just like a suit basically. But like from the Western point of view, it's a little fucking weird. I won't lie, I do feel like it should be its own thing if it's cosplay, especially since Twitch has an actual art category. Yeah, I just think creative arts should have probably been limited to people who primarily do creative arts. Like, I don't have any issue with big streamers being nominated for creative arts categories, but I think if their stream is not over 50% creative arts, you probably shouldn't be a nominee in that category. I think it should really be dedicated to people who, are really active in those spaces and those communities. That's just sort of my 2 cents, and I don't think that's a particularly controversial take. The Burt Peanut VTuber one is definitely the one that like I've seen the most hate on though, from VTubers or from the VTuber community, particularly on Twitter. I just don't think it's merited. I think Burnt Peanut deserved it. I think he killed it this year, and I think he's entertaining as shit. So I suspect it's the same way they nominate people for the Oscars. There's a lot of money and dealings behind the scenes going on. So from what I understand, for the way they nominate people, is it's a combination of voting. So your fan base votes, which means that if you're a larger creator, you're going to have it like heavily skewed towards you being a nominee just because you have a larger audience. Like if I weaponized all of you guys to go vote for me and I had like 50,000 of you watching me live, the odds that I'm not a nominee is like pretty low. You know what I mean? So it's a combination of fan votes, and it's also a combination of panel votes. So there's a like I guess there's like a panel or a council of creators that are like I would imagine in sort of the Cutie Cinderella like circle or whatever that have like final veto power on who gets in. Yeah, but there's a literal art category. I feel like, especially since there's some very solid artists who only do art, to give it to Emiru, who has a much broader range of content, feels like a bit of a cop out. Yeah, it does. Ratibi365, thank you for the follow. Yeah, it does. I don't know. That's sort of my biggest gripe with the whole thing. I don't think she should have won. I don't even think she should have been a nominee. Like that to me is just silly. But I won't lie, with that context, it feels like because she had a pretty stressful time recently, they just wanted to give her a thing. I get it, but then I don't know. It just kind of it damages the reputation, the credibility of the actual system. And look, the reality is this is just an award for like top streamers to basically like self suck each other and circle jerk. But like, it would be nice if I don't know if there is one. Is there a small channel like category? Is like a sub 100 viewers? I think that would be cool if there was like a small like creator category. That would be interesting to me. I think that should be something for next year, is adding a small creator category. Hasan being cringe? What's new? Yeah. I am surprised that the fan dropped the collar meme, though, during that segment. That was pretty based, I'm not gonna lie. Wait, Hasan's doing full-on Maoism now? Yeah, he's in his China arc a little bit, from what I can tell. It's not news that Twitch staff is corrupt. I don't think it's Twitch staff though that actually like plays a part in this. I mean, I'm sure they have a role in it, but I don't think they're like the primary avenue for decision making. I think QT kind of has probably more say over that. I don't really know how it works, so I don't want to like speculate too much. But that I don't know. That's my assumption. I don't know about sub 100, but there's the hidden gem category. Yeah, I think like there's a lot more you could do on Twitch to help smaller channels. I think Twitch discoverability is really against small creators. Like let's say I have a good raid, right? Like if I get a good raid and I'm boosted over like 30, like I'm now brought up to like over 30 viewers or 40, 50 viewers or whatever live, that translates into me getting even more viewers over time because I'm pushed up in the algorithm. Because the way the discovery works on Twitch is it's all based on who pops up the highest in the category. So if you have 10 viewers, you're going to be a lot lower than somebody who has 30, 40, 50 viewers. The algorithm is going to show you people with more viewership. And so it's skewed towards larger viewers. I wish there was a better discovery function, kind of like how YouTube has, but unfortunately it doesn't. And I don't feel like it'd be that difficult to implement, Like the idea of like changing the algorithm so it's like whatever type of content you watch, your recommended content that's adjacent or within that sort of orbit to that content seems like it could work on Twitch. I don't know why it wouldn't, but Maybe people are just more loyal on Twitch to their one channel. I think a lot of people, because of the time commitment of watching Twitch, it just leads to sort of more sort of community building, and you end up sort of not really going outside of a few select communities or whatever. And a lot of those communities tend to have crossover, right? But to be fair, Hassan's always been super pro China. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I just think it's like a little gross or whatever. But I don't know. It seems weird. It seems weird. I didn't watch it, but there were categories for Rising Stars some years ago. Some streamer called Frogan. Oh yeah, some streamer called Frogan won it. I've seen she pulls like 30 viewers. Yeah, Frogan's also like Frogan also fucking sucks, dude. She's a mod for Hassan. And her whole thing is she fucking like thinks that like I don't know. She said a lot of crazy shit, okay? She's a fucking bit of a lunatic. From telling soldiers that they should kill themselves and like fucking I don't know, all kinds of crazy shit. Not a big Frogan head, personally. But that was also just it felt a little nepo-y, mostly because she was like Hassan's mod, right? And like she was also obscure and didn't really do much. Her like I think her whole thing is basically just like react content where she watches YouTube videos with like zero commentary. I'm pretty sure she's being sued for that exact thing right now. So it's just a front. He's not in support of their culture and politics. I don't know. I don't know. Hassan's. I mean, I don't even think Hassan kind of understands like what China's culture and politics are. To be quite honest, I don't really get it that much, so I can't talk too much shit. But I do know that fucking repping in like repping a Mao cosplay is pretty fucking wild, dude. They'd be like showing up in a Hitler uniform. It's just kind of insane. All right. Anyways, that's the shit talk segment for the day. But you have to accept it, Snack. You're the only cool art streamer. Nah. There's a lot of cool art streamers, dude. There's a lot. Also, Izenti, I saw your little Twitch thing. Your favorite streamer. I'm your favorite streamer. Very nice. Thank you. You know what, Izenti, I'm proud of you because you have very low Twitch viewership numbers. If I'm your number one like viewed channel with 15 hours, I'm very proud of you for touching grass, dude, and going outside. Keep it up. Like actually. Unless you're just fucking like gooning all day, then whatever. I take it back. Okay, let's do this stupid hand. I have college. To be honest, from my understanding of Hassan, he just likes the China as a nation does more stuff for the average person. I don't think I've seen him actually talk about the politics in China. Hassan is just sort of anti-West. That's sort of it. So any country that is like not aligned with Western ideals and values, he tends to align with. He was like very pro Russia during like the Ukraine invasion at the start. I don't know if he still is. He kind of like has like some. I don't know if he's changed his tune on that, but he was pretty fucking pro Russia when the whole Ukraine shit started. He was like he's anti like Taiwan as an independent country. He's like very pro China. He's like just anti West in general. Okay, brush. I pull up my reference. We're doing the stupid hand. I'm pro California. California's the best state. Your governor is also incredibly based, dude. If I'm being quiet, it's because I'm going through my phone looking for my reference. There we go. It's on like a private Discord server that I have to find. There we go. Go log into my other account. Okay. But yeah, dude, how about any other opinions on the streamer awards? Or did we cover? I think to me we covered the most interesting talking points, but I'm curious to know if you guys have anything that I didn't cover here that to you stuck out as either problematic, based, awesome, cringe, whatever. I forget how to draw, dude. Whenever I start a stream, I'm always like so not fresh anymore. After drawing for like 4 or 5 hours, I feel like I'm fucking locked in, dude. My brain is like wired to draw. And then I stop drawing for the day because I can't draw for like 6 hours straight without my shoulder feeling like it's gonna fall apart. But yeah, I don't know. I think these fingers need to be a little longer. This hand feels relatively small compared to this one. If I were him, I'd be more keen on fanboying over countries like Denmark. Yeah, I think a lot of the Scandinavian countries, like if you're gonna be like a hardcore tanky, those are your. Well, no, actually, that's not true. Tankies wouldn't really like those countries because they still have some form of like democracy. But I didn't really pay much attention during the stream. I just remember the production being pretty bad at the start of the streamer awards. Really, I didn't really catch the whole thing. I just kind of caught the highlights on like Reddit or whatever. I wasn't watching. I watched some of it live, but not a whole lot of it. I think these hands need to curve over a little bit more. I'm just gonna liquefy. It's gonna be easier. Yeah, they kept filming the wrong people during the award segments and putting up the wrong name cards. I wonder if they have rehearsals. Like streamers are notorious for not showing up to fucking planned events and stuff like that. So I feel like it's probably fairly difficult to get rehearsals with some of these people. But like I feel like you should probably have rehearsals. I would imagine like the announcers and stuff or people who are calling out awards probably have rehearsals, but I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really have a high opinion of Western countries in general. If you look at things historically, a significant amount of the most fucked up things that's ever happened because of Western countries felt entitled to everything everyone else had, and then kind of save face to create the system that keeps them on top and doesn't equally distribute all resources they stole. Yeah, that's a tough one though, right? Because it's like, look, I get where you're coming from, but I think that's if you look at it in a historic context, in which case I totally agree with you, Jadu. But if you look at it in a modern context, as in the position we're in now, like what are your views on sort of like things like reparations and stuff? Do you think ancestral like should I give up portions of my assets because my ancestors were like colonial like 400 years ago? You know, like I don't personally, if somebody came to me and was like, Snack, I need you to give like a portion of your money to strangers, I would be very, very against that personally. Like, I'm not opposed to like creating systems that boost a lot of the damage that's been done, but targeting individual like citizens and stuff like that seems a little bit weird. Now having systems in place like DEI programs and stuff like that. I used to be fairly against those, but I think I've actually come around on those, and I think DEI programs are quite beneficial in a lot of ways, and they have proven records of sort of like helping people sort of end like systemic cycles of like poverty and stuff like that. So there's benefits to it. There's also a lot of flaws to it as well. So it's just sort of how you use it. As far as like my opinion on the West, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm a little bit of a Western shill. I'm very, very pro West. Okay, I'm not pro like there are bad aspects to it and there are good aspects to it, and I'm not like I don't want to be like in denial about the bad stuff. Like a lot of the mostly what's going on in the U.S. right now is fucking crazy. Okay, and it's not something that should be repeated elsewhere, and it's also like a blip on like the modern standard for like Western behavior. Now the for my big thing is like class issues. I think that should be like the primary focus of every single political candidate going forward should be class based issues. The implementation of automation, the removal of jobs, the wealth misappropriation from like corporations and billionaires. That shit, I think, to me is like should be front and center of every discussion. Things like colonialism and race disputes and stuff like that. I don't think it's as impactful as that other thing that I talked about when it comes to class-based issues. So that's where like I just it it's not that I disagree, but I also feel like every country ever historically has been on like some sort of conquest path. I think it's just sort of the fact that the more recent history and the success rate of like colonialism by like the West has just been a lot more. It's a lot more recent, so it's a lot fresher for people. But I don't think the West is uniquely evil in that regard. And I yeah. So as for wealth issues, I think it's fucking wild, dude. It's like I was talking about yesterday, right? Like I think a lot of people today, even today, they still perceive sort of like the like if you make 100K or whatever, you're like you've made it or whatever. But 100K today, like dollar value wise, is like roughly 50K from like the 90s. So somebody making 50K in the 90s would be the equivalent to someone making 100K today. But back then, the same perception of like 100K was still like as crazy as it was, you know? I don't really have a high opinion of Western powers. Okay, so you're okay. Yeah, I guess like if you look at the political landscape right now, it's pretty fucking bleak. Okay, so I'm not gonna disagree with you on that one. I think the question then comes is if we don't like the way the Western system goes, what's what's the alternative system that we can point to? And the thing is, I feel like a lot of people point to like Scandinavian countries and stuff, but we're not talking about like populations. I don't know how many people live in like fucking like Scandinavian countries, but I doubt it's like more than like 10 million per country. Population of what is it? Is Finland the one that everybody quotes? Population of Finland, 5.6 million. So we're comparing like systems in countries like compared to countries that have to balance 400 million people. It's not a fair comparison. And I think if we're talking about global order and global structure, we need to sort of point to regions that like really you're basically asking, do you want a Chinese system, do you want a Western system, or do you want a Russian system? Those are the questions really. And like we can work like Canada and stuff is doing its best to sort of transition itself towards more Scandinavian systems, but it's not as easy as it seems, especially when you've got all the deep rooted systems that we have here in the West. And in the US case, it's even worse with like healthcare and shit. But I'm with the political party who builds trains. Autistic ass take, dude. Bro loves trains. They don't even have to go anywhere. They just have to be nice in trains. I'm just kidding. Trains would be dope. It's crazy how little train infrastructure we have in the West. That's I can get down with that take. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about politics now. But that was just to get it out of my system. Agreed. I actually like trains based. Japanese rap is very weird. Sometimes I feel like they're just like kind of offbeat, you know? Why is she always purple? What, the girls I draw? Why are the girls I draw always like purple? I don't know, dude. I like sort of like the deadish, like ghoulish gothic like skin tones. I really like the fucking like dead looking skin tones. It's just it's what I'm aesthetically drawn to, I guess. Don't know how much Japanese you know, but let me tell you, they break all the rules to make their language fit Western rhythm schemes. I don't know a lot of Japanese. If you asked me like 2 or 3 years ago, I would have known a lot more, but I just haven't studied it in a while, so I've definitely like fallen off on my Japanese knowledge. I don't think I need more there. London actually has a pretty solid train system, surprisingly. A lot of Europe does. Like if you look at the train networks in Europe compared to like the US and Canada, it's fucking night and day. I think this forum's a little big. I think most of what I understand from Japanese comes from what I learned in uni, supplemented by a shit ton of anime. Did you study Japanese in university? I really would like to get back into Japanese study, but there's just like too many competing things I want to do, you know? Right now I'm trying to maintain this like the fucking not streaming, but the YouTube shorts and stuff. I still got to do my next one. I've got my script done, I've got my assets done. I just got to do the recordings and then send them to the editor. Um but yeah, this finger's longer. I studied biochemistry, but took a year in Japanese. Unfortunately, severely underestimated how difficult it was to learn a full language while doing a hard science, so I kind of tanked both, but I barely managed to scrape by my biochem degree. Yeah, why would you do that? That sounds wild, dog. Yeah, learning a language, especially learning Japanese. Japanese structurally is like one of the most foreign languages to an English speaker. Like the way they structure their sentences is just like not something that like we're used to here in the West. Like I'm pretty sure like Japanese sentence structure, okay. For Western, it would be like subject, like I'm just gonna put sub, then verb, I do, then object. In Japan, it's like subject. I mean, these two are basically swapped. So it'd be like sub. And the thing is, sometimes you just omit the subject entirely, and sometimes you can actually put the object before. It's like it's interesting, but the verb always sort of comes last. Tef form is also fucking wild, but it'd be like I to the store went, you know, or something like that. Rat, what up? What up, dude? If you ever want to get back into Japanese, or anyone for that matter, talk to me. Approaches to language learning is something I spent way too much time on studying. I also think Japanese specifically is taught backwards in the West, where it gets really a difficult reputation. Well, I'll tell you the way I did it, and you can tell me if you think you would do it differently, Melichi. So the way I studied it, and what I found, the issue was just my consistency mostly, because I was actually getting pretty good. But what I did was I basically did a lot of input learning. So consuming audio, or videos. Like what I did is I put on like Pokemon, which was like it's like a show for kids, so it's a little easier to understand. And I would supplement that with Anki flashcards on a daily basis. I would do 5 to 10 new words every day, and then beyond that, I would also one thing I would do if I started again is I would focus on reading a lot more. I added some reading in, but I just didn't do it enough. I'm just not a big reader. I don't enjoy reading, and that was sort of my big block for learning Japanese. I got to the point where I could quite confidently understand what was going on. I can't anymore, obviously, but at the time, I got to the point where I could quite comfortably understand what was going on, and I knew around, I want to say around 1,000 kanji confidently. Now it's probably down to like maybe a few hundred at the most, you know. Your point about sentence structure is exactly proving my point. If you think about it in the way you describe here, you need to remember a lot of rules you wouldn't have to otherwise. Yeah, yeah, that's true. I will say one thing I do appreciate about Japanese is it's very contextual. It becomes way more efficient to say a thing when you don't always have to say the subject or even the object sometimes. You can just say the verb and people understand exactly what you mean. As an English speaker, it's fucking wild, dude. It's like very, very hard to understand. Or it's not very intuitive for an English speaker, is what I'll say. Because, like, I mean, example, I say I at the start of basically every sentence, and it's like it's not like I have a buddy from Tokyo who's visiting like who visits like every now and then because he lives in Toronto right now, and he fucking like I don't know the way he like he struggles with speaking English is interesting because he always omits context and we never know what the fuck he's talking about. But his English is like pretty strong. We just don't know what the hell he's talking about. Nothing wrong with Anki or input. I just think that I it's just that thinking about Japanese in terms of nouns, adjectives, and verbs and things like relative clauses is a bad consequence of Eurocentrism. It's like trying to fit Japanese into the container of Latin, which just doesn't work when you're looking at an isolated language from halfway across the world. Okay, well, how would you approach it then? What would you, if you were to build like the optimal plan? What would you do if that's the case? Because I don't really know how else to approach it. Really, there's no like. I think taking the approach that I'm talking about probably works pretty well. I think at a certain point you kind of have to start thinking a little bit more like a Japanese person, but like you got to get to that point first, right? So let's say you're going total beginner. What's the routine that you would give a total beginner? Bro, this guy's like emulating Kendrick Lamar. I'll probably construct it like Korean. Apparently, when South Korea decided to make their language official, they got an official linguist to construct a written part of their language so you can learn Korean in a single afternoon, apparently. And then from that point, it's just learning the actual words. I think, well, it's just the script for Japanese that really fucks people up. Like, the kanji is really, like, difficult. And the sentence structure is very different. Whereas, like, Korean and Chinese, like, they have very similar sentence structures to, like English. But they have obviously very foreign pronunciations and nouns and all that stuff. But in general, it's like very structured similarly. Whereas Japanese is just like incredibly different from English. I only know two languages, Spanish and English, and I can safely say Spanish is the best language ever. Si, senor. I know English and French. That's all I got. I had a moment where I was learning Japanese, but it didn't stick. If I somehow manage to retire, I'm going back to it though. It's complicated, but you need to approach the language on its own terms. Japanese doesn't have adjectives or verbs. So even starting out like that will lead you into having to remember why you can use verbs to describe nouns, which you wouldn't have to if you consider the things that Genki or whatever calls adjectives and verbs both the same word class, which is neither. Okay. Yeah, well, they use the particle system, right? So, like, if you're using like an adjective or something like that, or a descriptor, you would use like the no, or I guess like e adjectives also and stuff like that. But that's just one aspect. It's a complicated topic, but I rant about it a lot. I mean, it's fine with me. I spent, like I said, I spent a couple of years struggling to be consistent with Japanese. There was one year where I was like really fucking hardcore consistent, and I got pretty solid gains to the point where I would have been able to like manage fairly well in Japan, but I lost pretty much all of that after just like dropping off the face of the earth with my practice and regularity. I do really like language learning, and to be quite honest, I think a lot of language learners, I kind of perceive them very similar to like skilled artists, where it's one of those things where you have to really stick to and grind out to really get gains in, and it's very easy to just sort of chip away at it and never get to the point where you want. If you want to get to a really high level or a degree of functionality that just like lets you operate within sort of foreign countries, you really need to sort of treat it the same way that like I or like another sort of proficient artists would treat their work and routine. And yeah, it's tough because it's very time consuming. So it's not one of those hobbies you could do like video games where you can like I'm just gonna play a game of Overwatch and enjoy myself and relax tonight. It's not like that. Like you're never gonna get fucking. I mean, even for video games, like you wouldn't get cracked without like hard commitment, but you could still get to a certain degree of skill in certain games, like without necessarily the same degree of time commitment to like art or like language learning. It's one of those things where you have to fucking really like train your brain to just think differently. I also think that applies in reverse as well. Apparently, non-native English speakers often think in their language of origin and have to translate it to English in their head because it doesn't come intuitively. Well, that's what I was saying about my Japanese friend. Is like he's a an English major, so his English is very good. But there are still times where we're talking and he just doesn't really know what we're saying, or like we use slang that he just doesn't get or something. But it's very rare these days. But still, not really. I mean that e adjectives are also verbs, and you and ru are verbs. Are also you and ru verbs are also adjectives, or rather, both are a unique class that doesn't exist in our Latin coded brain. It's very difficult to describe concisely here, so it's understandable that I don't make my point very well. But there's a lot wrong with Japanese learning as it's peddled online. In my mind, what you're saying to me, like I get what you're saying, but as somebody who's would be like a novice language learner or just doesn't have a lot of experience with it, I don't know that I could think that way without reaching a certain degree of proficiency. You know what I mean? To me, it feels like what you're describing. Like I would almost need it structured the way that it is structured in the West as a foundational way to think about it, just to conceptualize things a little bit more objectively, right? Whereas I think if I got more skilled at it, maybe I'd be able to perceive it that way. But I don't know that it's beneficial to like a beginner. Look, maybe I'm wrong, but that's sort of my take. Where it's like I feel like if I started teaching advanced stuff to somebody who's never drawn before or is a very beginner artist, and I started talking to them about the Gestalt principle and like negative space and composition and all these things that like when they don't even know basic anatomy or lines, I feel like that would be jumping the gun a little bit. Now I do that, but I just don't know that they'd be able to really conceive of it, or like if I talk somebody's ear off about contrast, that doesn't mean anything if they don't know how to draw like an eye. You know what I mean? I get it, but I've also seen a lot of beginner learners have more success with a bit more abstraction up front. But I do understand that it seems weird. Now, my question would be, how much of those people are getting like comprehensive input? Like, how many of them are reading and listening and practicing speaking? Because those are sort of like the three avenues, right? Like, and I think what I noticed was my primary focus was on listening and reading, and I got much better at my listening and reading, and my speaking was basically non-existent. And from what I understood, the logic was that if you can read and listen, speaking comes faster, which probably makes sense. But I never got to the point where I had the confidence to speak because it just felt so far behind my other things that I just felt embarrassed by like practicing it. But so if I did do it again, I would just straight up jump into speaking and do all the other shit that I was doing, but just really focus on actually outputting. It would be nice to have a jolly snack PNG tuber. It would be nice. That do cost money though, and so unfortunately, we're gonna be a bah humbug Scrooge VTuber snack. I do got titties though. Do a jiggle. Oh, you know it jiggling. You know it be jiggling, dog. Is that jolly enough? I think you misspelled jiggle, not jolly. Speak of the devils, is Ian a devil? Ian, are you hiding something from me? He's talking about your tits. My face is up here, Zaza. Again, hard to put concisely, but you need to learn how to speak or pronounce rather to learn how to listen, and you need to learn to write to be able to read. So that's what I always recommend. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like I don't know that there's exactly a perfect pipeline. I think it's gonna come down to if you practice reading and listening. If you practice reading, you're gonna get better at reading. If you practice listening, you'll probably get better at listening. If you practice reading before listening, maybe you'll get a little XP bonus on your ability to listen because you could always back it up with like subtitles or something. But like I think like all of the way I think about it is these are three separate skills: reading, listening, and outputting or speaking, right? Reading, listening, speaking. And like I feel like they're connected in a lot of ways. Like reading and listening are connected, reading and speaking are connected, and reading and listening are connected. And you can grow one area and it'll sort of help bridge that gap a little bit better to the other areas, but I do think that if you're not training those other areas, you're still going to be lagging behind in them. That's sort of how I perceive it in my mind, but wow, that mouse do have high testosterone. You mean estrogen? I'm mammaried up right now. Where's the testosterone at? Yeah, I'm not that good in biology. What are you studying in school? Oh, biology. By the way, are there any streamers in chat? I'm not trying to change the topic. I just have a little question. Because I today started streaming with a different software. That's probably why I started streaming a couple minutes earlier than I normally do. Because I was testing something out. But I'm wondering, is there a way for me to have do you guys know of any third-party software that allows you to control audio better? The issue is I want to have some background music on my YouTube stream, but I don't want it to like I don't want to hear it. Like if I run like an audio like file or something or like if I capture a screen, I don't want to hear it in my earbuds because then I'm going to hear Spotify and YouTube and that's really annoying. But I can't mute it either cuz then it like doesn't record in OBS if I screen capture it. Kind of, but that can lead you down a path where you learn a specific non-real world skill, like how students in school don't get better at the topics they study for, but get better at passing exams. Yeah, but I think that's if you're following like an academic curriculum, right? Like I think if you're doing like organic, like if you're listening to people talking on the streets or interviews or YouTube or whatever, I feel like you're gonna get a lot more organic exposure to the language than you would I feel like what you're talking about applies to like a course system where they make you talk like very robotic and like formally and all that stuff in ways where it's such niche use cases that you're never gonna have to actually apply in day to day life. But I feel like there are resources to sort of get more natural speak input. I don't know. What do you think about that? Snack, I need to design a poster about my major tonight. Have you ever done something like this? Any tips, or should I look at YouTube? A poster. Again, weird to talk about this way, so I'll step back from the Japanese topic for now. Why? What's up? I'm enjoying it, dude. I don't have any issues with you telling me your opinion. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't think don't feel shy about it, or don't feel like don't feel like we're arguing or anything. We're just chit chatting. And I will say, like, language learning to me is a very, very like interesting thing that I would like to explore more when I have more time to dedicate to it. And so I'm always very open to just different avenues and different perceptions of it. So don't feel like you're telling me to do things that like, don't think it's falling on deaf ears. Why would you want Spotify and YouTube Music at the same time? Because you can't run Spotify on YouTube. Because YouTube has a really sophisticated copyright detector, and so if you and there's no way to save your VODs on YouTube separate from your actual YouTube stream. So whatever audio plays during the stream gets saved in the VOD, and then it gets claimed, or it gets like demonetized, or like just hidden from the algorithm. And so having copyright free music is ideal. And because video game companies typically sort of allow people to use their music or whatever, um, you end up having that as an opportunity to play on YouTube. Just so it's not just here, it's not just me talking. Obviously there's no one watching me on YouTube right now, but when there are, it'd be nice if they had something a little bit more passive. So when it's silent, it's not just silence with like me tapping my keyboard or whatever. But no, no, I get it. I'm just saying I can't make my point too well when I need to type so much. Oh, okay, I gotcha. I'm really gonna struggle with this fucking hand pose, aren't I? 58 has some shit music playing on his YouTube and copyright on Twitch. That's what I'm trying to do. I just don't know how he does it. Because the way I could do it right now with OBS is by basically having two different audio channels and just making it so that I run my YouTube stream and my Twitch stream on different tracks. Okay? Which is fine. I can do that and it'll create two different experiences for the viewers. Like, I can make it so that you guys only hear one or the other depending on what you're viewing me on. But I don't know how to make it so that I don't also have to listen to both fucking music tracks. Because I don't want to listen to Spotify with some fucking like video game music overlaid on top of it. It's just annoying in my ears. And I can't lower it in my sound mixer because then it disables it for OBS tracking. And I can't I don't know. So I need like a third party software that creates like a next another fucking track to like connect all this shit to. So no tips on poster building. I've never done a poster in my life, so I have no idea. My advice would be look at other posters and copy their composition and put your own twist on it. That's That's it. I don't really have any advice for posters. Composition's gonna be king though. That's probably my biggest advice. I won't lie, it's very difficult to have a nuanced conversation when you're limited to two sentences before the topic moves on. Are you referencing a discussion in particular? Just me ADHDing on the fucking audio? Ask again. I don't think he saw it. I saw it. I just don't know what to. I don't have any advice. I've never done a poster. Anyway, your audio question. Yes, that's possible. You just need to channel the apps to different output devices. My question is there a software that you guys would recommend for doing that? Like, is there a sort of like industry standard or like standard free software that I can use to manage my audio tracks a little bit better? Because OBS is fine, but I would like to do a little bit more niche stuff. On Windows, you don't need extra software. Okay, because what the issue was when I before I started stream, I was trying to do that. Okay, so that I could have some audio running on YouTube, but I ended up in a situation where I couldn't stop it from playing into my earbuds either. Anyways, I don't know. I'll look it up unless you guys have like some sort of like tutorial you think I could follow. But I'm on Windows though, to be clear. Your least favorite chatter has arrived. Where is he? I don't see him. I only see people I love. On everything, basically. Like, if we were to talk about any subject, whether it's politics, language, or even streaming tips, it's way easier for me to be like, just do this, dumbass, than it is for me to be like, well, you have multiple options. It's understandable that you'd be confused, but you can do X, Y, and Z or A, B, C. Oh, you're just saying like the Twitch format makes it difficult to like have nuanced conversations. What I want to know is, are you saying it's easier? It's the chat format that makes it difficult to have nuanced conversations, or is it me that's skipping through topics too fast that makes it difficult for you guys to get your opinions through? I can tell you exactly how to do it. Okay, I'm open to it. I'll screenshot whatever you put in, and I'll save it for later, or you can just send it to me on Discord, whatever you want. It's a little too dark. I don't really like what I did there. I'm just gonna leave it the way it was. Nice. It's definitely the chat format. Honestly, I think you're doing a good job of being multiple topics, even the really dumb ones like the Naruto clone sex one from yesterday. That's gonna yeah, that's that one was interesting for sure. This is why you speech to text. I just type too slow to say smart stuff. I see. I gotta swap my earbuds, speaking of, because my earbud is dying. Bluetooth dies so fucking fast. It's because after like 4 or 5 hours it starts to die. Luckily I have separate headsets, so okay. Oops, I paused the music. That's just because I pulled my earbud out. There we go. I'm looking for my Bluetooth case. Go to your sound settings, audio mixer in the bottom right, and then advanced settings or something similar. I'm on Mac right now. Okay, I know what you're talking about though. When in settings, you can set audio levels and such for apps that are outputting, right? Yeah, that's true. Also there, when you click on an app track, You can choose what output device it's outputting to. If you choose one that you don't use, you won't hear anything. But OBS hooks in a way before that, so it gets the output either way. Oh, okay. Let me check that. Open volume mixer. Open sound settings. Output. Input. It's my microphone. App volume and device preferences. Oh, I see. Okay. Like I could output this specifically to like a speaker I don't use and then just capture from that speaker in OBS. Okay, I see what you're talking about now. I wonder if I could try that live. I feel like it'd be really annoying if I just kind of do that while I'm streaming, but might be better for me to do that. That way one of you guys can tell me if you can hear the music on YouTube. I just recently did a few guides for a couple streamers on such topics, incidentally. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about, though, because I just found the settings you were mentioning. I just don't know if I want to fuck around with it right now. You know what? Fuck it. Whatever. Let's do it. Let's find something to capture. So I'm just going to put on Guild Wars 2 music, I think. I think that's probably safe. I don't think that's going to get blocked. Let's go... okay, my audio's off. Guild Wars 2 playlist, or OST, let's say. Okay, and then we do... This one's 3 hours long. I'll loop it. Where's Snack? I'm right here. You can definitely hear me, Azenti. By the way, when you were streaming to no viewers, why were you still speaking on your stream? It feels so weird to have to say stuff to nobody. Also, I keep on having one viewer show up, and I don't know whether that viewer is me from a different tab or that's actually a person that never say anything. There's a little, if you look in the top of stream chat, you could probably see it right now, Jadu. I don't know if you're on mobile or desktop. Your model's gone? Oh, he crashed. Let me restart him. Give me a second here. He'll pop up in a second. Yeah, so Jadu, if you click, there's at the top, right above where you see all the people that donate or whatever, on the top right of the chat box, you'll see this little button that has like two little guys, like a sort of black dude and a white dude. You click on that, and you can see who's watching you live. Like, I can see everybody watching me live right now. That's how you could tell, like, who's lurking and who's not. I would just say, though, don't call out lurkers. Just etiquette-wise, just sort of leave them be or whatever. But, you can also set that up in OBS so that you could track it through OBS as well. So you don't have to necessarily just worry or rely on having your stream open on Twitch. Dang, I blink once and he's gone. I should be coming back in 2 seconds. There I am. Look at that. Okay. I'm running... Okay, unmute. Let me try doing something here. I'm going to do what Melachi was telling me to do. The chat button only shows who's connected to the chat, if I remember correctly. Doesn't mean they watch. There's also viewers without accounts, which understandably don't show up there. Oh. Yeah, Twitch viewership is weird. I don't really know how it works. Because I think if I look at like who's watching me right now, if I count them, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It shows 20 people and there's 19 people watching right now. I'm one of them, so I don't know if it counts me, but IRC, the chat server, basically. Oh, I thought you were saying if I remember correctly. Also, they changed how viewers are calculated conveniently right before I started streaming. Yeah, they did. So now you can only lurk in 2 channels at once. If you lurk in any channel beyond 2, you end up losing your viewership counts. Your viewership doesn't count towards one of them, so or whatever ones that exceed 2. I don't know what order they determine that in, but okay. Let me see. That audio track 3. Okay. If you guys go to YouTube right now, you should be able to hear like background music now on my YouTube. Yeah, you can hear? Okay. Now, I'm going to go to my sound mixer, because I can also hear it, which is the annoying part. So now I got to go to my sound mixer, open volume mixer, open sound settings, whoops, open sound settings. Then I got to go to app volume and device preferences, I think is what it was. Yeah, and then Google Chrome, I'm going to output to a set of speakers that I never use. And I'm going to see if it's still picking up. Can you guys hear... Can you guys still hear on YouTube the music in the background? Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, hell yeah, dude. Thank you, Melochi. That helped a lot, actually. That solved my problem. Because I was like, man, do I need, like, third-party, like, managing software or something like that to, like, manage this shit? It was just not going well. My dad's so weird. He, like, texted me. He's like, how are you feeling? Because I was sick the last couple weeks. I was like, I'm kind of fucked up. Or I was kind of fucked up. I have a lingering cough or whatever. He just answered back with perfect. Okay, Dad. What the fuck? You're very welcome. Glad to help. Hey, you a real one, dog. Honestly, I feel like anyone who sticks around long enough probably just around because I'm playing some nice Latino music instead of me actually saying or drawing anything meaningful. Maybe. I will say, starting out streaming is tough, especially when there's no one. My first stream, I don't think I talked to literally... I don't think I said a single word. I think I said, like, one word. I think if you look through my clips and you look at my oldest clip, you'll see me say the one word I say all stream, okay? But otherwise, I didn't say shit. And it was just because I just didn't... It was, like, very awkward. I wasn't, like... I feel like you gotta sort of be trained for the mic or whatever. Anyways, I'll need to bounce now. My mom called and I'm part Italian, and we do love our mamas. So have a great rest of stream and a day snacking, gang. All right, peace, dog. Thank you for helping me out, dude. I appreciate you. Take care. All right. What was I saying? I don't know what the solution is, Jadu. The reality is, you may just end up talking to no one for a little while. Eventually, you'll get like a dude or two. Also, what you can do, Jadu, is if you stream now, you could tell my mods on Discord, and they'll change it so you have a streamer tag, and you're in the stream category on the Discord, and then whenever you go live, people will be able to see in the Discord when you're live. That way, it's like a way of self-promoting without directly self-promoting. It's totally fine. Just message one of the mods and ask them to give you like the streamer tag. Or I could give it to you. It doesn't really matter. I could just do it right now. There you go. You're purple now on Twitch or in Discord. Anyways, I'll be gone and always glad to come here every now and then, and hope you all have fun with the stream. Will do. Thanks for popping in, Zaza. Praise be to the Space King. Suitor 4. Who's the Space King? Me? Am I the Space King? Guys, I'm fine with being king of something. I'll tell you that. All Hail Space King. This is my new title, huh? Is it because I'm drawing women in the vacuum of space where there's literally fucking nothing behind them? Space King is the king of space. Amen, brother. It's a reference to a series on YouTube. No, I'm not familiar. Where is my reference? There it is. Snack, the other time you told me you're weak drawing backgrounds, why is that? Because I don't do them ever. I literally never draw backgrounds. That's why I'm weak at them. If I dedicated time to drawing backgrounds, I'd probably get decent at it. I'm just not very good. I just don't do it very often. I did a background recently. I did a couple backgrounds. I mean, they're very, very mid. They're not, like, good or anything. Let me see if I can find them. I did this one. Is it this one? Yeah, this one. I was designing a pool hall called the Cock and Balls, okay? And I was just trying to come up with like a design for it. It's just very basic top down. I don't know what the fuck this was, but it says cock. It does say cock. It's because I thought it was a fun little pun, and then this was supposed to be like balls and a pool cue, you know, the Cock and Balls. But I think it's too on the nose, so I think I'd change it to Chalk and Balls. So that was one that I've done. I did that very quickly though. This was supposed to be my new live thumbnail I'm working on, but I haven't actually finished it. Where's the other drawing? Other background, I should say. I don't know. I think it was this. Yeah, this was actually finished, and then I ended up like not saving it, but it was supposed to be just like the building here. All this shit I had erased out, but I don't know. I was trying. I quite like Chalk and Balls. Chalk and Balls feels like it's less on the nose. I feel like Cock and Balls is too on the nose. I'm gonna be a menace without a headphone. Uh-oh. What do you get? So you just can't hear me at all? Or are you just on, like, in a fucking public space listening to me talk full blast? I hate when that happens. That's why I turn on autosave. Yeah. That reminds me I should save. Okay, I'm doing this hand still. Dude, this hand, guys, is gonna take fucking forever. I'm really struggling with this one. I gotta do the fingies first, I think. Knuckle one. I just don't ever really draw hands in this perspective. You would think a hand like this would be harder, but I feel like I've done that exact hand like a million times now. This one, though, or like weirdly compressed hand like this. Yeah, it's weird, especially because the knuckles like divot instead of protrude in that pose. Yeah, the reference I'm looking at is basically like there's a lot of creases in here, and it's just sort of it's a difficult pose to do. It's just the skin folds that I'm trying to get accurately. That's probably like gonna be the hardest part here. This finger's also a little off. I think I would have it coming a bit more towards us. I'm really relying on my reference for this one. The other one I wasn't as heavily dependent on, but I'm quite enjoying this render. It does look pretty good, even though you keep on saying that you're having issues with it, or maybe that just means I have no sense of when to actually finish a piece of artwork. No, it's not the whole piece. Like, I really like the way this part looks. It's just sort of this hand right now that I'm struggling with. And then the boots I'm gonna have to tackle also. Like, I'm very happy with the way this turns out. I think this is probably one of my best paintings that I've done, probably ever, to be quite honest. So, I'm not mad at it. I do want to do something more with the hair. It looks still kind of too sketchy. The face is basically done. I'm calling the face done. I don't think I need any more here. I can maybe clean up this little edge here or whatever, so it's a bit smoother. Something like that. Just blending it a little bit stronger. Yeah, that looks a little nicer. And then I want a little bit more contrast between the chin here. So I'm going to darken this line very gently. So I don't want it to be distracting, but I want there to be a clear value separation here. I don't know if I like that, actually. I feel like she needs, like, more chin, you know? I don't know. Whatever. We're gonna do the face later, but... By the way, has anyone seen The Mighty Nine? I have not. This goes out to all the German chatters. Thank you, Damon. That used to have a shameful TH fan. Nubovich. Raiding little old me. Shit. Get in here, Nubovich. Any relation to Nubalot? How you doing, dog? What were you up to today? I'm gonna give you a little shout out. Shout out, Nubovich. Nubovich. I've just had a lot of people named Noob raid me recently. I have in my possession 3 Final Fantasy VIII Seifer and Zal Dujins. What were you up to today? You were doing art. Oh, shit, dog. Shit. You want to share anything? Don't keep all the goods for yourself, dog. Let's see it, Nubovich. What you got? What you got for me? Imagine if all the streamers with similar names were actually related. I was doing some rendering. I can share IG. Works for me, dude. Share your IG. I don't have a screen share set up, but I'll take some screenshots of some nice pieces, and we'll highlight that. Instagram. All right, let's take a little peeky poo, guys. Oh shit! I really like the texture you use. Okay, nice. Okay, I'm gonna share. I really like this one. This is really nice. I like the contrast, and I tell chat all the time. Okay, here, let me pop this up. Check this out, guys. I'm sorry if it's like really grainy. I'm gonna try and zoom in on my canvas rather than expanding it, because otherwise it's gonna get really fucking grainy and it's just gonna look like shit. But Nubovich is crazy, dude. Go follow Nubovich. Thank you for the raid, and dude, I love your art. And I was telling chat the other day about how contrast works, and how, you know, you want contrasting colors. And if you want something to read, there's different ways to do it, guys. There's value, and then there's contrast. And Nubovich art is a perfect example of that. Look at what we have here. We've got really red pants, right overlaid behind a bluish tone, purplish tone background. And the blue and the red contrast, because they're opposing on the color wheel in hues, they typically tend to clash. And so visually, it creates a clear separation. So you can use colors like this to really sort of define outlines if you're not necessarily just relying on value. Obviously, Nubovich is applying both value and color here, but you can, you know, anyways, it's it's just always interesting to see how it's applied. You can see the red and the blue hues here as well. Really, really nice stuff, dude. Also, Nubovich, if you got stuff to do, you got to take off. You got to do whatever. Do your thing. Don't feel like you need to hang around here, right? You take care of yourself. But with that said, you're more than welcome to hang out here. And if you want to plug any more socials where people can follow you, go ahead, dude. You could drop your Instagram. You've already done Twitter. What else? Freaking OnlyFans, Rule 34, whatever you got, dude. Drop it all. I don't care. Well, maybe don't drop those actually. But if you got other socials, go for it. Tree of the Void, thank you for the follow. But yeah, and I guess a little bit about me. My name's Snack. I'm going to move your drawing here just so that I can keep painting the hand I was doing. Just put it over here so it's not out of sight. My name's Snack. I draw a little bit of everything. We draw stuff like this. We draw stuff like this. We've done some paintings. We've done some animation. This animation is a little... where's my timeline? This animation is... It's getting there. We're not done yet. I also keep forgetting how the hell I open up my timeline. There we go. Ooh, that's laggy. I haven't run this animation in a little while. It's a little laggy. Nubovich, thank you for the follow, dog. Appreciate it. Oh my god, this is so choppy. Anyways. It's incredibly painful to look at right now. Just trust me, when it's not moving at 1 frame per second, or 1 frame every 24 seconds, I should say, it looks moderately okay, I think, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, where I self-flagellate and autofillate, metaphorically, of course. Holy fuck. Okay, we're just not gonna look at that anymore, just because it's chugging. That thing, I gotta wipe the dust off of that animation, I think. The Mighty Nine, by the way, is a show coming up out on Amazon that's based off of D&D campaign and Critical Role. Kasem actually worked on the show and did a number of character designs for it. I'd say it's absolutely S tier, unbelievably good. Oh yeah, I have heard of that. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about, dude. I remember. You should turn on render before playback so they can load up everything before it plays. Is that a thing? Why do I not know these things? Where's the render option on this? Do I go animation? I mean, now it's probably fine, actually. There you go. It's running through. Ardio Ash, thank you for the follow. Ardio Ashes, sorry. Thank you for the follow. Playback settings under animation. Oh. Animation. Playback settings. Loop play. Render before starting playback. I already have that. I think it's just, I got too much shit on. I got too many things open right now, dude. I've got like 1 million drawings open, you know? But yeah, Nubovich, cracked artist. I'm going to give you a follow, actually, because I want to catch one of your streams. Very dope. Do you stream a lot, dude? I don't know if you're still here, but do you stream a lot? I don't know why I haven't come across you. I feel like your art style is like exactly in the realm of things I consume. But for whatever reason, you've never... Maybe we're just on different schedules. I feel like I only really use Twitch when I'm, you know, around the time that I'm active. But... kind of depends on the schedule. Are you one of those, streaming by the seat of your pants type dudes? Whenever time permits? My timing's all over the place? Gotcha, okay. Yeah, I'm on the... I got the weekend schedule, because I'm a 9-to-5-er. I'm a little wagey cuck, dude. They put me in my wage cage all week, and then I can only really stream on the weekends, so... Unfortunately, this is the only time I can do my thing. Maybe Clip Studio is just cooked right now. I think I just have, like, I don't know. I just had to shake the rust off of that. Anyways. But yeah, anyways. All that to say, I draw an array of things. My background was in animation, in Canadian animation for a few years. Now I work in a very corporate industry because the animation industry is a little shaky. And I don't really like the stability aspect of that world. But, yeah, that is my background is animation. Specifically 2D rigged, so not really hand-drawn stuff, but I dabble. We dabble in a little bit of everything. Caffeinated Critter, thank you for the follow. And as of right now, what we're trying to get done today, even though it's like incredibly difficult to do, we're doing this hand, and I'm gonna try and get these boots done, but I don't know if it's happening today. So what's the 9 to 5 now? Anything art related? Without going into too many specifics, it's a very boring corporate sector. Okay, it's not art related at all. It's actually the complete opposite. I sit in a gray cubicle all day, and I stare at Excel. A lot of numbers and a lot of like financial tracking and stuff like that. Very, very boring stuff. Okay, absolutely nothing to do with art. I miss working in animation, though, I will say. And leaving the industry was really bittersweet, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, Nubovich, you probably know, because I'd imagine you know quite a few people in the professional scene, but it's pays low, dude. Hours are long. Stability is, like, not really a thing. You could just get laid off after, like, working at a place for, like, 2 years and just be unemployed. It's just not great. So, I do art as a hobby now. Which is honestly the one thing that I'll say. I thought originally leaving the animation industry was gonna fuck me up and I was just never gonna draw again. But I found after leaving the animation industry, I draw a lot more now than I've ever drawn in my life. And I think genuinely that you're just sort of tapping into two different like fuel networks in your brain. Where it's like on the one hand, if you do something really non-creative, it sort of like gives you a lot more creative energy post work. Like after work, I can go and draw for hours and I don't feel drained. Whereas when I was animating, I'd feel exhausted at the end of the day creatively. The last thing I wanted to do was go draw or animate more. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's interesting, I guess. It's kind of like bittersweet, but it worked out for me. So I'm not mad at it. It's so intriguing that knowing all this information has not deterred me whatsoever from wanting to work in the animation industry. Nor should it, dude. I think if you're built diff, dude, I think you should go for animation. If you know all this shit, and look, the reality is this doesn't impact everybody. There are people who work in animation and in professional art industries that are not as like impacted by instability and get decent pay and stuff like that. They're just fewer and far between, okay? So they're kind of like the upper echelon. They're the guys that the studios don't want to lose, so they're willing to keep on even in times when like work is low. It's just that that's not the norm in a lot of cases. And I think maybe we just had like a really rocky period in the last few years in animation in particular. And it's not to say that it'll always be like that. And so if you're listening to me talk about like doom and gloom, don't let it get to you. Don't let it deter you and stop you from like pursuing art as a career. But I do think it's important to know sort of the reality of it as well, right? Like if your goal is not to be the most cracked dude ever and just be a fucking god tier artist, and you just kind of want to do it for funsies, it might be difficult unless you're just like genetically blessed where you don't have to put in a lot of effort to be good. But that's just like not. If I'm giving advice, it's not gonna be. I try and tailor my advice as generally as I can. I don't want to sort of give advice based off of niche cases where people are just fucking god tier artists, you know? It doesn't feel reasonable. And I feel like a lot of like people on the internet, that's sort of how they tailor their advice. They'll be like, this is how I made $5,000 or $6,000 in a month as an artist. And it's like, yeah, but you're fucking cracked and you have like 200,000 followers on it. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel honest to do that to the average person. So if I sound a little bit more doom and gloom, it's not to deter you. It's just to sort of let you know that that's sort of the way it is. Especially now with companies like Glitch that seem like they're making waves in the indie animation space. Glitch, I've never heard of them. I'm not a big game. Is that a gaming thing? I don't know much about gaming. I'm not like in that world very much. But yeah, what about you, Noob? Do you work in any sort of like professional art scene? I would imagine you do some sort of work professionally. If I had to guess, unless you're just like some god tier artist who, you know, is just like a fucking hobbyist. Like your Poison Ivy variant cover is really, really nice, guys. Let me pull this up actually. It looks like I'm getting the impression that you work in like comics or something. Check this out, guys. Is this fucking goated? Yeah, I'm a full-time freelancer. Hell yeah, dude. You ever do feedback or mentorships in any way? Asking for a friend, obviously. Yeah, I do. Hee hee. Damn, you want to plug it? Because, you know, I'm not going to lie. Like, I think you're fucking goated. And I think one of the things I do here on stream through the Discord is I do free critiques for viewers. So a lot of the times people will submit their work and I'll go over their work and try and give them feedback and stuff. But it's always interesting to know like who does that style of stuff in the art industry, whether you charge for it or you do it for free like me. I'm just out here fucking up the economy for everybody else. I just kind of like it, you know. I like seeing growth in viewers and stuff like that. I get genuine satisfaction out of it, genuine human satisfaction, which is a rare thing to find these days. But okay, your beautiful babe is covering my hand though, so I do have to move her. Sorry, baby girl. Right now I do DC covers. Yes, I do. Yes. Plug it up, dog. I believe that they invest in other animation studios by hosting their content on their platforms since they have a large audience. Oh, that's pretty interesting. So it's kind of like a social media for like indie companies or something. That's pretty neat. Speaking of, I'm working on my second portfolio piece. Will you do a critique on it later? I'm still working on it. Yeah, when you're done, Jadu, send it in the Art Critiques channel and I'll take a little look. I do some free critiques on Twitch sometimes. It's fun. Well, look, maybe I'll submit something. I really like the way you apply texture in particular. And I'm curious, I assume you have like your own like brushes and stuff that you do this with. I've been trying to experiment with texture a little bit. You can kind of see it with this like weird stippling shit I've been doing. But I feel like there's definitely ways I can improve it. Bangarang. Bangarang. That's, isn't that the shit, oh, what the hell? Like, Robin Williams in, like, Hook says, or whatever, the like, Lost Boys, isn't that, like, their catchphrase? It reminds me of Frank Frazetta. Yeah, you can see a lot of Frank Frazetta inspiration for sure. I mean, this is a little bit more modern than Frank Frazetta, but this like the just like powerful warrior woman shit is definitely for sure like Frazetta style. I'm pretty sure that's a Skrillex song as well. Okay, well I'm glad I know the alternative and not the Skrillex version. I'm gonna take a little pride in not having known that. How long you been drawing, Nubovich? I'm assuming a very long time. I'm asking because chat asks me all the time how long I've been drawing for. It's always interesting to hear from other people. And Nubovich, if you had advice for somebody learning to draw, what would it be? I'm curious. I'm just gonna milk you for all the information I can get. I forget that it's a Skrillex song since I first saw it in Hook. There you go. Eons ago. Damn, this guy's immortal. See, that's a good enough answer, chat. It takes eons to get really skilled. Should have been born an immortal being. I'm telling you. I've been saying this for years. Okay. Ironic, because I would have thought someone called Nubovich would be relatively new. Yeah, Stolen Valor, dude. He's taking the thunder from all the beginners. Bro smurfing on Twitch. What were we talking about before? I can't remember. I'm having a blank, chat. We started off stream talking about the Streamer Awards. And then we just kind of pivoted into, like, language learning. Okay. I think I need more. I'm gonna try and add like a rim light or something on my fingers just to differentiate them a little bit better. Right now, I feel like they're just not. I mean, they're obviously not reading because they're very blocky, which is kind of a block in, but. And then politics, and then language, and then something else. Damn, smoking weed has really fucked up my memory. Good thing I quit. Amen, brother. Drugs are bad, okay? I think we were just talking about struggling with that hand. Yeah, that's true. I think this hand is, like I said, this hand is very challenging for me because I've just never done something with sort of this amount of creasing in the fingers and this positioning. Hands like this, like I said, feel like they would be more difficult, but I've just done them a lot, so it's not too bad. But this is a weird one. Do a little highlight here, I think. One thing I'm thankful for is my dealer getting arrested. I don't really think he deserved it, but the lack of access made it very easy for me not to bother looking for another source. I forget you don't live in Canada, because in my country, it's just like you just go to the store and you buy weed. You know, you don't have to like do it on. You don't have to meet a guy in an alleyway. You know, unless you want to, I guess. But relaxed hands are usually pretty easy. I feel. I find the opposite. Like whenever a hand's at rest in like a profile position, I always find that really difficult to draw for whatever reason. It's just never, like, it's always been kind of hard for me. I don't know why. I always fuck up the proportions on, like, a really basic sort of profile hand. It's really crazy that the US hasn't made it more legal. Alcohol industry lobbying is crazy. Is it really that? I feel like right now is like the ripe time for them to legalize it, but whatever, dude. I don't care either way. I don't smoke weed, but don't matter to me. I do think it's a little tragic that people go to prison for it, though. Even if they're selling weed to Jadu, but... You kind of nailed it, though. Like, that one was good. I think it's more difficult to do it with line art. Painting hands, I feel like, is actually, ironically, it feels a bit more forgiving to me versus like versus doing line art on hands. I don't know. That's what happens in Tennessee? Is that what TN means, or is that an abbreviation for tonight? Have you ever seen that finger brush in CSP? It's actually kind of funny. Like, there's like a brush for generating fingers. That feels cheap, dude. Sometimes I see shit with like digital processes and I'm like, really, dog? Like, I feel guilty when I use Liquify, okay? But like, I'm still gonna use it. Don't get me wrong. I feel bad about it. But sometimes I see shit. Like, I think the new thing for me that I feel really old about, and I don't know, like, I'd be curious. I don't know if Nubovich, if you're still here, but I don't know what your opinion is on, like, people who use, like, 3D models and just trace over them. To me, that feels weird. It's technically, like, there's no plagiarism there. You're posing the model, you're moving the model around, and you're getting the composition you want. It's all you. It just feels like you're cutting, like, it feels like you're turning your brain off, and you don't have to think as much, and you're just not getting as much juice out of the actual, like, study process. And I feel like you're hampering your development as an artist by doing stuff like that. It's not to say that there's like some sort of like moral issue with people doing that or using like 3D models to draw. I think you're doing yourself a disservice by doing that and not sort of trying to work through the issue that you have. Strictly speaking, I think it's fine, but I feel like you're somewhat limiting yourself in comprehension if you're using a 3D model to not have to figure out the perspective for yourself. That's what I'm saying. That's basically it. Is like I think like there's nothing necessarily like inherently ethically wrong with using 3D models. I just think if you're using 3D models and tracing over that, you're delaying your potential knowledge gain. You know, you could work through that issue. It'd be more difficult, and you'd be able to do it a little bit easier next time. What if you use it to study poses instead of tracing? Then I think you're getting more out of it. And I think that would be a more effective way to use it. Like the reference I'm looking at right now, I'm not tracing it. It's a photo I have on my phone. I'm not showing you guys because it's a photo of me with my shirt off. But like, you know, it's beneficial for me to sort of try and understand where the values are, where the compression is. Like I'm learning through looking at it. Whereas if I were just sort of tracing a 3D model or something, it just, you know, you're not learning anything from it. It's very easy to just trace with your brain off. I guess you could practice overlaps and stuff if you're doing like a weird complex like pose or something, but both the original and the remake, Gantz was a very, very weird show. It didn't even cut into the real weird of the manga. What's up, Snack? All good? I'm all good, dog. How you doing, Maury? The Maury? Mr. Povich, it's an honor to meet you. I'm sorry, you probably heard that joke before, but it was like the first thing that came to mind. I feel like it's kind of using AI to code. It can help you speed up the process if you're already knowledgeable, but if you aren't, then you're not going to be able to grow. Right now, I'm trying to learn to draw and train my brain to understand shapes in 3D. It is really about intentionality. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's sort of my takeaway, is if you're using 3D models, there's nothing like unethical about tracing a 3D model if you're posing it out yourself, but you're doing yourself a disservice, and I feel like you could learn a lot more. That's all. I just think like if your goal is to be an artist that can translate your work into multiple mediums, like if you're doing traditional, you can't trace a 3D model. You can take a photo of like a puppet, I guess, and then trace that photo with a light table if you're really that hardcore. But in general, you know, I just think the goal should be to be developing your skills. So, in my opinion. Now that being said, okay, there's caveats there too, right? Because it's like, what if you're working in a tight turnaround time, right? Like, let's say you're a mangaka and you have to release a certain amount of chapters per week. In which case, you know how to draw your characters. Maybe using 3D models just helps you accelerate the process, so that you're not sort of relying on fixes as regularly as you would otherwise. So there's pros and cons, I suppose, but remake did cut into the real weird parts. Picture a Snack shirt off. That must be very valuable on the black market. You think I could start an OnlyFans, dude? Snack nudes are a Patreon exclusive? Exactly. He hasn't given me ideas. In my mind, the people who mainly use all those cheat code or brushes and models are webcomic artists that just need to work as quickly as possible to meet their chapter 1 week quota. Yeah, exactly. You read my mind. I mean, I literally said that 2 seconds ago. I swear to God, I didn't pre-watch. But yeah, no, that's exactly it, right? Like, I think if you've got a tight timeline or a tight turnaround, then there's a lot of value in sort of like tracing from a model. But if your goal is to develop your skill, then you're hurting yourself. But I'll sometimes bust out a 3D pose if there's something I'm really not getting. And the time it takes for me to draw the pose out of a model, I'd have drawn it twice. Really, eh? Yeah, I guess so. It depends on the complexity. If you're doing like really crazy compositional stuff, it's probably going to be a lot harder to get the model right. Actually, I'd argue this. AI is quite helpful in learning the code because it doesn't do it right. There's been multiple times where I learned the basic code of Python, and then when I used AI to help code a simple program for personal use, and it did it wrong, I had to use what I understood to figure out how to fix it. That's true, but yeah, I guess. The thing is, yeah, look, I'm not a coder, so I've got no input on that, to be quite honest. You're probably right, though. If your goal is to get shit done, then have it, I guess. Exactly. Hello, Snack. What up, Sid? How you doing? Hey, yo. What up, Shozy? How you doing, dog? It can be good for learning, but one of the issues is depending on it to do everything mindlessly rather than intentionally. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think, but the thing is, I think when people trace, the issue is they turn their brain off. Unless you're intentionally doing like a trace to study, right? Like if I'm taking Nubovich's work here, and I'm an, and I want to study it, it's totally valid for me to just sort of take his stuff, reduce the opacity, and trace over top to sort of understand the shapes that he uses and all that stuff, right? But if I'm using, I mean, obviously, with the plagiarism aside, pretend this is a thing that like is like a 3D model or whatever. If I'm studying it this way, then I'm like, yeah, you're just not getting anything out of it. I left when your fire alarm went off yesterday. Was everything all right? Yeah. So I think what happened was there was like a burst pipe in one of the garages. I asked one of the concierge today. It was originally the thought was somebody was smoking weed that triggered it, and then the thought switched to okay, there's a burst pipe. And that caused everybody to essentially have to evacuate the building because the pipe automatically set off the alarm. It's like it's like an issue we've had ongoing for a while now. It's kind of annoying, but yeah, it was fine. It was just like it's basically a false alarm. It wasn't a false alarm, but it was basically a false alarm. I would think using 3D models for everything. Sade, how you doing? I would think using 3D models for everything would be that. If you want to get into something much more stylistic, then you're gonna have a harder time understanding how to manipulate the forms in a cohesive way. Or is that wrong? I think that's right. I think like there are like baseline skills that translate to other things, right? Like if I learn to texture like clothing or like do wrinkles on clothing, it should help me understand wrinkles on hands and skin as well. Like the same concepts exist there. Now there's not necessarily like the same tension points. And your muscle memory is not going to necessarily apply where it's like it's all coming from this crease in her hip, or it's going to come from like her armpit or whatever. Like, but the idea is the same, and you can it gives you a stronger foundation to think about things that are novel experiences to you, in my opinion. How's the art coming along, Sade? It's coming along. It's getting there. That's so funny because those teenagers smoking weed must have been fucking terrified. Yeah, maybe. I don't even know if there were teenagers. I swear to God I smelled weed, though, when I was, like, walking up the stairs, but... Sometimes people just fucking smoke weed in my building. It's a smoke-free building, but people don't really care. Ooh, I see. Doing very, very well. You're doing very, very well. Oh. I'm gonna go a lot more saturated here. Okay, I'm trying to indicate the bone here for the knuckle. It's gonna be around here for this fingy. Why a mouse for your VTuber? Okay, that's a good question. Okay, so there is a rhyme for the reason, okay? And I'm going to tell you in 2 seconds. I just want to get some water because I've been yapping and I'm a little thirsty. So I'm going to keep you guys in suspense, and then we'll give the mouse lore. Give me a second. Okay, so the reason I'm a mouse, guys, is not for the obvious reasons that you would assume, okay? Most people would just assume I'm a furry. I am not, okay? Believe it or not, I'm not a furry. But when I came up with the idea of creating a PNG tuber or streaming in the first place, I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do. All I knew is I wanted to stick out and I didn't want to be generic. And the big goal the big goal I had was at at every cost I needed to avoid being an anime VTuber. That was really it. That was sort of the foundation. And I was like, no matter what, I can't be an anime VTuber because there's just fucking a million of them. And they all look the same. No offense to anime VTubers. A lot of them have a very similar aesthetic. And I wanted something a little bit more unique. And so I figured, if I went like an animal, it would be a little bit more engaging as far as like, or it would stick out more, right? If you're looking at a bunch of thumbnails on YouTube and you see 20 VTubers and they're all anime characters and then you see one mouse, your brain's gonna notice that contrast. Okay, so that was one part, and then part two was basically I have a pretty crass personality sometimes. It's interesting because I feel like we balance sort of having serious conversations and having the stupidest conversations imaginable pretty well. Like yesterday, we had an hour conversation about whether it's gay or masturbation to fuck your shadow clone if you live in the Naruto universe, So it's like, I think shit like that we could talk about, and then we could also talk about like politics and serious issues or whatever within a reasonable way. And I think that sort of personality trait needed again its own contrast. And so the idea was if I had a really cute, adorable mouse who was saying the most absurd shit ever and being really like crass, it would just create like a really interesting contrast. So that was the idea. That was literally it. That was the whole thought process. Was if I'm crass, I contrast that with cute in the visual appearance, and and if I'm living in the VTuber space, how do I stick out? Well, I want to contrast as well there. So it was all really like the idea was contrast. I don't think I would have thought of it as contrast at the time. Now I think of it that way, but that was the goal. I assumed you love Fido from American Tail. I don't even know if I've seen American Tail or American Tail. Oh, that little guy? No. That's not the inspiration, but he is kind of sick looking. Dear Sightings, hope you're doing well. How's the stream going? Not too bad. How's your stream? You're not still live, are you? Oh, you wrapped it up? I was chilling earlier in Deer Sightings stream, guys. Go follow Deer Sightings if you're not following him. Fantastic artist. If you love anime stuff, he's your boy. He's always drawn beautiful babes. Stream's going good, dude. Stream's going good. We're chilling. I completely lost my tablet pen. I can't find it now. Oh, there it is. We're struggling on this hand, but otherwise we're chilling. Watching you, I've come to appreciate how much time artists take for their art. Every artist deserves flowers and then some, coming from a non-artist. I will say, I think I take an exceptionally long time. Like, I'm a very fucking slow artist, dude. I see some people that, like, just blitz through things. Ryrie comes to mind. Rumby comes to mind. Deer Sightings, I don't think I've seen you do your full process all the way through, but my assumption is that you're a pretty fast artist as well. I'm not very fast. I think I've probably spent almost close to like 30 hours on this piece so far. So it depends. Like, I won't lie, it depends on what you measure as the long part. Maybe you can draw something really quickly, but to be able to do that, you need to spend years learning how to draw. Yeah, I mean, there's also things that I can do fast. I can probably draw a face pretty quickly. I can't render very quickly because I haven't refined my process. I wrapped it up. I take the weekends a little chill. I don't blame you, dog. That's for me. That's me in weekdays. My Monday and my Friday streams are a little chiller, just because Monday and Fridays I finish work and then I come home and I stream after work and I'm just like exhausted. So I usually do a couple hours instead of the usual 4 to 5 hours that I do on Saturday and Sunday. You cook in the pose and rendering sick. Thanks, dog. Appreciate it. Watching Snack streaming art and taking your time to fine-tune things really makes me feel better about myself, because I used to hate how slow my drawing process was, and I thought I was unskilled for that. I think it's standard for everyone. That being said, guys, I will say, what you see on stream is going to be a lot slower than my normal process. Because I talk, right? I can't draw and talk and sort of entertain and do all of these things at the exact same time. Like, we haven't really touched this hand much. If I were drawing off stream, I could probably get this hand done in like 2 hours, But because I'm on stream, I'm probably going to get 10% of it done in 5 hours. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to factor that in too, right? where I'm a lot quicker offline than I am online, just because I'm not as distracted and there's less stimulus and things to focus on. You can actually see how long it took you to draw something. If you go to window and then to information, you should be able to see how long you spent on a piece. Okay, window, information. Is information at the top or the bottom here? I don't see information anywhere. No, I don't see it. It's more towards the bottom. I still don't see it. The art piece I'm working on currently, I've spent 272 hours and 59 minutes on. Yeah, but does that just track how long your canvas has been open? Because I feel like all of these would be in the thousands of hours. Because I've had this open like forever. I don't turn off my computer like ever. So unless it like resets for an update, everything's just gonna stay open overnight. Oh, information! I found it. Okay. Where's it show? 54 hours and 39 minutes work time. There's a fucking long ass time, dude. Does that show for all of them? Okay, this one's 0 because I opened it and I haven't done anything to it. Okay, so it actually literally only tracks you drawing. Interesting. It doesn't track it once you've closed it though. 3 hours on this, that makes sense. Animation, 77 hours. So this animation, I've almost committed as much time to the animation as I have this illustration. And keep in mind, I've opened and closed the animation several times. So it's probably actually longer. It's probably over 100 hours for that animation. To be fair, I'm not sure, but I know this is taking a while because I keep on adding and removing stuff. I'm not doubting your skill or something. Just saying it makes me realize taking some time to fix something back and forth is very normal for drawing. Yeah. No. By the way, Sid, that wasn't me bragging, being like, I'm so much faster offline. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I think what you guys see is probably slower than how I actually draw. But that's not to say that I'm still, like, I'm not a fast artist when I'm not online either. It's still going to take me several hours to do stuff. Have we given the model you're working on a name yet? I have no idea, dude. No, I don't think we have. People say that she looks like Conan from Naruto. That's what I got before. Have I been drawing on this layer? Fuck, I have been drawing on that layer. Shit, Nubovich, I gotta clear this before I accidentally flatten it. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. To be fair, I also slow down significantly when I choose to engage with chat. When I go real quiet, it's usually because I'm locked in and I'm really focused on what I'm doing. Yeah, that's me too. Except I'm always like, because I have people like listening to me talk, like fairly and trying to interact with me. I feel like sometimes chat will be like, "Are you okay? You're so quiet." I'm like, "I'm just locking in, guys. I'm just locking in." Okay, let's minimize this. What's poppin', everybody? What up, Finosa? How you doing, dog? If anything, I'd add like a lock-in timer on screen when you want to focus that counts down, so that at least chat knows that you're not ignoring them, but you're just focusing. Um, yeah, I mean the thing is, when I draw on stream, I kind of understand that I'm not always gonna be super efficient with my timing, you know, or with the time spent. And that doesn't bother me because I think the nice thing that stream does for me is, first of all, it gives me an anchor. I've talked about this a billion times. It gives me an anchor where I'm drawing. I'm at least interacting with my drawings on a weekly basis on a schedule. And then the other thing it does is it gives me the momentum to keep drawing offline. Lately, my shoulder's been kind of really fucking with me though. So, what's poppin', everyone? Oh, wrong timing. No, you're good, dude. Doing fine, just went to the gym with a homie. Oh yeah? What'd you hit today? Legs? Ugh. Hate legs, dude. Are you one of those guys who likes legs, or are you a normal human being? This is the perfect time to make your mom joke. He missed his opportunity, dude. Sorry, they. I can't do the gender reveal for Venosa, my bad. I did only legs when I went actively for 2 years ago, and now I'm just doing upper body most of the time. Yeah, so we guys. Tisk tisk. You're gonna have to step your game up, dude. You know what? Why am I drawing on a white background right now? I should be doing it on the black background. It'll just make my colors contrast so much better. I'm like trying to see my fucking highlights and shit, and I'm like, why? I can't. I'm gonna see them so much better if I have a dark background. See, this is why every person who hits the gym ends up looking like an upside down triangle. I wish I could hit the gym, dude. I'm so close to being like fully repaired. I've just got like one more movement pattern that I need to fix, and then I can get back to lifting. This one's just been really tough to like fix, and I don't really know how to fix it. I'm trying to just be patient because I have been improving a lot. The fuck? How do I get back to like be able to flip my canvas here? It's just a natural evolution, I feel like. What, looking like an upside down Dorito? You gotta get that V taper, dog. My gender gotta be hidden now. Just come in and say you train like legs and glutes all day, and everybody will just assume you're a lady. That's the trick, dude. Everybody knows guys only train upper body and ladies only train lower body. That's how you bait. For real, for real. Hey, not much. How do you know how to bait so good, Snack? I'm the master baiter, dude. I don't know, man. Even when I was doing calisthenics regularly, I was pretty kicked up, and my family kept on making fun of me because I had a girl's butt. Caked up. Damn. You got the fucking dumpy genetics. Very nice. People like that though. That's a good problem to have. Too big of an ass. You would rather have too big of a butt than no butt. I'll tell you that. I have a buddy who's like that. He's got a very big ass and he hates it. But I'm telling you, ladies love it, bro. I'm not a lady, but I'm gonna speak for all womankind right now and tell you they love big butts. All right, on fellas, they like a nice thick butt. A buddy you can grab. That's right. I'd like to have butt, like on yourself or coming from a lady. I agree with what Snack said. That's right. I'm the Sade Whisperer, dude. Although it might be jelly if the butt's bigger than mine. I don't know, dude. There's some guys with some meaty behinds. All right. Mostly athletes. Athletes have big fat asses. You know. Blessed with a dump truck. I'm so happy for you, dude. Congratulations. I think this needs to be longer. I'm making the hand longer. I've seen some dudes with childbearing hips had to take a double gander. That's right. You got the, some dudes do have the double wide, but it's not like the norm, you know. But sometimes you got that like middle-aged gym teacher build. Zale. You raiding little old me? Shit. That's funny. I could just I could be a raider in my own chat. Hey, love your work, snack. And then how does that look like over here? Look at that, dude. Raider message from Cat Snack. Love your work, Snack. Love you too, Snack. You're so handsome and sexy and good at art. No, you. Thank you. No worries. How's it going, Zale? I'm leaving you with my lurkers. Well, you got a dip? All right, do your thing. Do your thing. If you gotta take off, I appreciate you raiding, dude. It's always funny to raid like into my own channel from like somebody else's channel. He's already going schizo. No, guys, I'm not. Look, I was a raider. Okay, I was lurking in there, and so the raid comes to me full circle. Professional glazer, auto glazing. The self glazing goes hard. Well, it's got to be hard if you're gonna glaze yourself. First time I seen Zale doing a raid. Really, this guy never raids. I used to raid Snack a lot more when I actually had a schedule. When he loved me more, too. He's like an ex-girlfriend now. Never talks to me unless he needs me. Tisk tisk. I'm just kidding. If you got a dip, dude, you take off, alright? Don't wait on me. Oh, wow. It's okay. Me and Zell know each other like that. We can talk shit. He bullies me all the time. I know he does. True. Toxic Yowie. Standard gay relationship, dude. He divorced your ass? Yeah, whatever. Nah, I'm gonna play Path of Exile? Alright, well, you go play PoE. If you want to share anything, by the way, for raiding. I know you were doing your little Sakura background earlier. If you want to share anything you were working on, you're more than welcome to. If you want to drop some links to whatever you know, your social media, you know the deal, dude. 8-hour stream, go burr. That's a light day for you, dude. Only 8 hours? You're slacking. Someone help him, he's going crazy. I'm not. Oh shit, we got ads right now. Sakura background? Ooh, that's right. He's a fantastic background artist. Incredibly underrated, in my opinion. I don't have social media, plus that art is pretty much finished, but the damn tear in the sky fucked me up. I saw you moving it around, trying to get the right spot for it. That was 5 hours, quick commission, though. Is that a fast turnaround for you? Do you find it's easier to do like background commissions than it is like character commissions? Five hours is miraculous for me, not gonna lie. That's what I figured. It's much easier depending on the commission, considering that cities take 300 years to finish. Yeah. I feel that. Well, I don't, actually, because I never do background art. But I believe you. I tried playing Path of Exile, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't get into it. I played like 20 hours, and I was like, this game's kind of boring. You just kind of run around doing the same shit over and over. There's no, like, the plot's kind of meh. I just couldn't get into it, dude. I don't know. Everybody hyped it up, and I was like, this shit ain't even that good. It's literally builds. The whole game is making builds. Yeah, that's boring to me, though. I don't know. Any nature-related landscape I can pretty much finish in under 8 hours nowadays. That's dope. At some point or another, I'm gonna have to learn how to do backgrounds as well, because I definitely do not have enough money to pay someone to do it for me. Animation backgrounds are a good way into the industry also. That's a like entire department on its own. And finding good background artists is, you know, pretty difficult too. I mean, I could post it on the server if you want to see it. Yeah, dude, do it. That's pretty crazy to think about grinding out a drawing for 8 hours or longer. Brother, I've been drawing this for probably over 50 hours. Neonioshi678, your message was retracted on YouTube. What did you say, huh? I'm side-eyeing you now. What's going on over there on YouTube? You talking shit, dude? My record's 300 hours for One Piece. One Piece. Damn, that's pretty crazy. I really have no... I don't really track that much, so I don't really know how long it's taken me for certain pieces. I've probably got some shit that's taken a pretty fucking long time now. I'm still learning, so I haven't really put a lot of hours into a single drawing yet. Still drawing 250 boxes again. That's a good place to start, dude. I think drawing the boxes is the way to go. Straight up. I'm the real Reverse Flash for how slow I am. Well, let me know, by the way, let me know when you post in the Discord. I'm not looking at the Discord right now, so let me know what's in there, and I'll take a little peek. So we can honor you for your beautiful raid. Sorry, I wanted to say hi, but I thought it'd be embarrassing to hop in out of nowhere. No, Neonioshi, don't feel that way, dude. You're more than welcome to hop in out of nowhere anytime, whenever, dude. That's what I want. I want you to hop in out of nowhere. You can also add feedback out of nowhere. You could, well, don't like backseat draw or whatever, but you could just sort of pop in, and if we're talking about some shit that you want to add commentary on, you don't need to say hi first. You can just jump in, dude. It's the internet. Don't think about it too much. You're good. Yo, man, this is looking great. Hey, Naldo, thank you for the comment. Welcome in, dude. The box grind, let's go. Already did. All right, guys. Zale posted the background he was working on today. I'm gonna show it to you guys because I think he's a fantastic background artist, and he rated us. So we're gonna give him a little love. And I don't know, did we give you a shout out? I gotta give you a shout out, dude. I'm such a terrible host. What am I doing right now? And then check this out. This is what Zale was painting today. Isn't that fucking nice, dude? His background art is fantastic. Go check out Zale on Twitch if you haven't already, all right? Because he's an incredible background painter. And I'm gonna give you a shout out, so I don't feel bad about being a bad host. Zale art. Check him out, dude. Thank you for the raid, dog. If you gotta go, I'm gonna lower this down here just so I can. We're gonna put you here. If you gotta go play Path of Exile or whatever, do your thing. Don't wait on me, you know? My stream's like watching someone torture themselves for 8 hours a day. That's like me, just 5 hours instead. Love the drawing. Neonioshi, I love you. It's my parasocial bait for the day. The stairs I usually use are pretty curved or twisted, but I try to sprinkle in a few here or there. I also that drawing is lit. His drawing is lit. I'm a horrible streamer, man. It's not even worth it. Nah, you're good, dude. Not gonna lie, at this point I should start shifting to be a dedicated landscape painter. Do you ever do like traditional portraits? Because I feel like you could sell them for like a lot more, and you could like join galleries and stuff like that. Like you're at a level where you could definitely like be doing more promotional stuff with like backgrounds and landscapes and environments, or even working in like some sort of like professional industry. I have to get a lot more addicted to drawing than video games is my main issue right now. Hey, dude, that sounds exactly like me. I have a big issue where I just can't enjoy video games because I've like reprogrammed my brain to see them as like detrimental to my progress in art. And when I went through college, I had a really bad habit of sort of perceiving video games as sort of the ultimate distraction. And so now, years later, I still can't really play video games just because I still get that sort of PTSD feeling that I should be doing something else. Who's this character you're painting? I have no idea. I just kind of made her up. She's not from anything. She's just kind of from my brain, I guess. Actual portraits I've done way too much, but I live in buttfuck nowhere, Brazil, so there's no galleries around. You can still sell physical pieces, though, I feel like. I share the same sentiment of not wanting to play games because my time's being wasted. Always makes me have less fun. That's the same with me. Like, as I'm playing games, I'm like, I should really be drawing right now. I can't shake the emotion, dude. It's not healthy. I've been able to move away from them somewhat, but still end up playing a few hours when I want to turn off my brain. See, that's a good way to do it, though, you know? That's what I wish I could do. I just don't have it in me. The only thing that can break your anti-gaming addiction is the gaming redeem. That's why it's there, and that's why it's so expensive. It's to brute force me into playing a video game. I'm gonna add a note to it that says that, you know, talk to me first before you redeem it about what game you want to play. Just because I don't want somebody, like, spending all their points on the redeem. Just to be like, I want you to play this obscure jank-ass game. And I'd be like, man, really? In the past few years, I managed to rewire my brain that way. Wish I got the neurosurgery sooner. You know what the trick to rewiring your brain is, guys? Trauma. Okay? Just be so toxically abusive to yourself to where you crave, you know, growth and development so much that it comes at before everything else in your life. And you'll be able, like me, to hate video games. Okay, it's within reach for all of you. I really believe in you. So if someone ends up redeeming gaming stream, that'd be like torture. Just kidding. I mean, it wouldn't be. Like I tried playing Cyberpunk not too long ago, and I played a couple hours. I think I played like 10 hours, and I was like, you know what? I'm not really into this. But then I played like Baldur's Gate 3, and I have like 150 hours on that. 150 hours for me is like a game that I am like really into, you know? Neonioshi, I'm the opposite. I'm playing games 24/7 and keep telling myself I should draw, except I use art block and studies as an excuse to not draw. Bad, Neonioshi, bad. Look, I mean, the reality is, if it makes you happy, if it's not damaging your life, that's the most important thing. If you're happy in your life and you don't feel like your habits with video games or whatever are destructive, and you're being honest with yourself, okay, and nobody in your own life is telling you the opposite, it's probably fine. And you probably shouldn't worry about it too much. I think if everybody seems to be very concerned about you in your life, there's probably an argument to be made that you're probably actually not doing things very healthily. Or everybody in your life is just melodramatic and they're all wrong and you're right. But that's a dangerous path to take, you know? Yeah, I don't know if I really want to add that highlight there. Also, just lie to yourself a lot. That rewrites your brain too. That's what I'm saying, dude. Okay, I'm procrastinating by not drawing my hand right now. Just really fucking struggling with this stupid hand. I think as I get better at drawing, what I want then would be being more dedicated to drawing. Find an anchor, dude. Find a thing that like gets you to adhere to it. A lot of people talk about consistency in art, and they're like, if you want to get better at art, you need to be consistent. And that's true. But how do you become consistent? You need to find a thing that ties you to that habit, no matter what. Okay, not the Hobbit. That habit, no matter what. And in my case, oh my god, dude, I just fucking burped. I'm such a disgusting bitch. In my case, it's having a streaming schedule. Having a streaming schedule makes me accountable to other people. It makes me show up regularly. Look, there's 40 of you guys here right now on Twitch, and there's like one guy on YouTube. I feel like a sort of responsibility to show up for you guys. When I cancel streams, I feel bad about that, because I know there are people who sort of align their schedules around me, and I appreciate that. Or align their schedules with me and show up for my streams and enjoy it. And I feel bad when I'm not there for you guys. And in turn, the benefit I get is, first of all, I get to hang out with you guys. And the other one is I get to have an anchor to being consistent. So you guys give me the energy and the motivation to do my drawing while I'm on stream. And then when stream ends, I've already got that momentum and I'm already warmed up. So I usually keep drawing. And that combination gives me so much growth in my art. And I think the one thing is I've always tried to brute force art and to find, but I didn't realize that I needed like some sort of link to get that consistency. And the link could be watching a YouTuber you watch while you draw. It's just sort of building a habit around forming art and tying it to other aspects in your life so that that habit is it's stronger. It's harder to break because there are so many tethers linked to that habit that habit is just like, it's easier to hold on to and to adhere to. That's sort of how I see it, but... My anchor's landscapes. I just naturally draw it and enjoy it. My nemesis is drawing any character. For me, it's the opposite. If I was trying to draw backgrounds right now, it'd really not be as fun. Same with animation. I don't enjoy animation as much. I don't dislike animation, though. But it's just, you don't get to the result you want as fast, in my opinion. Right now, I have a dedicated 2-hour stream after my daughter falls asleep that I work on art, gesture trying to figure out proportions. See, that's one way to do it too, right? No 3D model is going to help you with that hand. That's true. Well, I mean, I'm looking at a picture of my own hand right now, but... I also think people should avoid I should draw and change it to I want to draw. That helped me too. Yeah, so it's a combination of that. Like, mindset is basically what you're talking about, hey Naldo. And then, you know, couple that with sort of what I'm talking about, where you sort of have, like, not physical, but other emotional links that tie you to the habit. Bro, that's so inspiring. Like, really? Oh, I'm glad you get something out of it, Neoni. And not only that, but you can also set up your environment to make it so that drawing is less frictionless. And what I mean by that is, and I've talked about this several times on my stream, but the way my office is set up, like my work office, is I have my desk set up like this, okay? This is a terrible... Let's make it bright red. The most beautiful neon, retina-piercing red, okay? We're gonna go red here. My desk is like this. My monitor is at the back here. I'm just gonna draw my monitor like this or whatever. My desk is pretty small too. So because my desk is small, I can only either have my keyboard or my tablet centralized. And I always, no matter what, 100% of the time, have my tablet dead center, and my keyboard off to the side like this, okay? And that's how I set up my desk. And this is always the default state it's in, even if I'm browsing YouTube. Now, if I'm browsing YouTube, what I'll do is I'll take my keyboard and I'll move it onto my desk like this, or onto my tablet. But it's always on top of my tablet, and my tablet's almost always on. And what that does is that whenever I sit down at my computer, I'll see the last thing I was drawing, right? In this case, it's a lady. So we're going to draw a little lady here, okay? Beautiful, beautiful lady, okay? In this case, I'm drawing this lady, and so now when I sit down, I'm like, huh, you know what? I can fix this. I can maybe 2 seconds. I'll just fix this. I just see this little thing that I could fix, you know? And so I'll pick up my pen and draw, and then 2 seconds turns into fucking 2 hours, you know? And I feel like having your work set up in a way that makes it a lot more frictionless to jump into drawing is going to make it so that even if it doesn't happen all the time, you're still going to get like a maybe like 1 to 10% boost on actually drawing more consistently. It doesn't mean you're always going to draw more consistently, but you're going to miss fewer opportunities where you wouldn't draw, you know? Or you're going to miss fewer opportunities to draw, just because the way you're set up is you're always set up for drawing first, and by being set up for drawing first, it just means the jumping into drawing is going to be a lot less painful. Anyways, that's sort of how I think about setting up my work environment too. A lot of people watch art streams while drawing to make it easier. Yeah, that's another anchor, right? So that's sort of the stuff I'm talking about. That's helped me a lot. Usually I watch some other art streamers which help inspire me. A-Cubed, Casey Snow Art, etc. Yeah, we know Casey. I don't know A-Cubed, but I know Casey Snow. That's great. Good. Anyways, so that's sort of just... it's a combination of things. It's not going to come from one place. You really have to change your sort of lifestyle and the way you operate in general to sort of... The goal is not to make it so that you like gun to your head are forced to draw every day. The goal is to make it so that the opportunity to draw pops up a lot more in your day-to-day life, to where it's a lot more likely that you'll fall into drawing rather than forcing yourself to draw. A-Cube, she does a lot of ZBrush stuff. Okay. I'll have to peep it. I am getting into like more 3D modeling artists lately. There's some really good ones. To be honest, streaming is my biggest way to just draw. I can't afford to be distracted because people are watching me draw. The funny thing is, streaming originally when I was like smaller was a good way to draw. And now because there's a lot of people here, I end up just talking the whole stream and I don't get a lot of drawing done. But, like I said, it carries over into like offline hours where I do continue drawing, so... Fuck. Shamfu TV, thank you for the follow. He says he's not a furry, but howls when he gets a new follower. Sometimes you just gotta howl, dude. That's straight culture, okay? That's not furry culture. Furries don't own howling. That's straight. That's some white boy shit, all right? Howling with your boys. You never had a good howl sesh? Come on, dog. You're not living. Go, white boy, go. That's right. White boy getting a little motion. Respect to art streamers, I'd be sweating with people watching me draw. People don't care that much, you know. I don't think it's a big deal. I think you know, people worry about that, and I've heard that a lot. Hey Naldo, but I really think that you know, people don't really care what your skill is. Sometimes people just want to hang out, you know. My secret to get addicted to draw naked women. It's really the greatest subject. Hey, dude, if you can only draw while you're fucking rock hard, then get yourself rock hard, you know? Whatever floats your boat, literally. To be fair, some of the people who do the most gay shit, straight white guys, So I don't see why they can't expand into furry shit. That's right. It's an adjacent territory. It doesn't help that I have a hockey background. That's also like the most homoerotic sport there is. Soccer players look gay, but hockey players act gay. We're not the same, alright? I've never had that Hal session before, and since I'm not white. Well, maybe in another life. I feel attacked and somehow seen. That's good. That's the goal. Been lurking for a bit, loving this piece and your art talks. Keep it up. Thank you, Shamfu. Appreciate it. You got me stumbling my words, dude. Now I'm embarrassed. I wish I could time myself out. I can't, though. Thank you. I appreciate it. 100 acres Borg. Ow! Let it out, boys and girls. I feel like my neighbors probably hear me howling sometimes. I really wonder what goes through their head. I live next to like two old ladies. I know literally on both sides of me is like ladies that are like over the age of 60. And the amount of shit they probably hear me say, I don't know, dude. They say hi when I see them in the hallway, but I don't know what they're thinking. Ladies over the age of over the age of 60 are unhinged. I'm sure they don't mind. Kim, you got a lot of experience with ladies over 60. What are you trying to say, dog? How do you know this? See, I thought I was the one banging everybody in chat's moms, but I think Kim's doing work behind the scenes. A tear rolls down their cheek every time they hear it. They wish men from their generation had that kind of aura. That's right. There's probably some senior furries out there. Not that I'm a furry or anything. Just saying. Let them hear it. Show them that you're the alpha. Exactly. They don't know that they're neighbors with the greatest art Twitch streamer ever. Hey, I didn't see my name in the nominations last night. Just saying. Just saying. Emiru who? Step aside. Cat Snack's coming. Oh yeah, I recently heard in the news that an 81-year-old lady won the best technique at the lesbian pie eating contest. I actually saw that exact same article. I fear random old ladies just love talking to me when I'm in public. Curse or gift, guys? I really don't know what to think on that one. Sometimes old people have really fucking crazy takes. They just have, like, I feel like they're a lot more susceptible to, like, disinformation on the internet. Like, my dad's girlfriend kind of does that. Like, I'll go over, and then she'll just start telling me about, like, Jews running the world and shit like that. And I'm like, oh my god, you are, like, deep in some shit. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, she says some crazy shit sometimes. To be honest, when I was working in hospitality, some of the most meaningful conversations I've ever had were with the elderly. I believe it. I feel like, you know, a lot of people discount wisdom, I think. And life experience is valuable, okay? It's not the end-all be-all, Like the reality is you can be a moron who's 60 years old the same way that you can be somebody who's learned a lot throughout your life at an old age, right? I think wisdom comes from basically learning from experience. But the reality is there's a lot of people who experience negative things and they don't learn from them. And that's sort of how you end up unwise, okay? But I think if you experience things and you gain knowledge from it, that's how you develop wisdom, which is why people who are wise typically tend to be a lot older. But on the flip side, you can also be somebody who's old and who just keeps making mistake after mistake, never learning from it. And just because you're old doesn't mean you're wise. But being old gives you more opportunity to become wise because you just have more life lived, you know? Smudgy Lefty redeemed Do a Jiggle. Oh, you know it'd be jiggling, Smudgy. She, it'd be jiggling. You know it, do. You know it, do. I feel like people over 55 these days really want to tell you about an AI video they saw. I feel fucking terrible for old people and AI, dude. The amount of times I've browsed Facebook. I don't use Facebook often, but when I check Facebook, I'll see like a thread with like these two little African children who built like a replica of Jesus out of trash. And it's like clearly like an AI video. And then all of the fucking comments are like, amen. This is so beautiful. There's so much talent across the world. And it's like, oh my god. Oh, hey, old people are cooked. They've got no shot. They're usually chill, but sometimes they'll bring up politics and I have no idea what they're going to say next. The worst part is they're the voter base, dude. They're the ones making the rules. So, kind of explains a lot when you think about it. That's the thing I find so confusing. I feel like there have been situations where I've experienced the same issues repeatedly, and then all I can do is obsess about why this happened multiple times. I don't think there's a version of me that doesn't immediately look for a way to learn from a given situation. I think it's mindset. Some people have sort of, there's a term called learn helplessness, right? Where people sort of have been beaten up so much in their life that they've only associated, like let's say you're a kid and a lot of bad things happen to you as a kid. The amount of opportunity that you have to be resourceful and to work your way out of a bad situation is pretty low as a kid. And so you're fairly powerless, which is why we tend to be fairly protective of children, right? Because they don't have a lot of power to sort of like find their way out of bad situations. And so if you grew up in a situation where you've been constantly abused or things have been like really impacting you negatively, you have fewer recourse, and so you're more likely to learn that the outcome to a bad experience is that there's no solution, and therefore you just sort of blame, you know, people like extrinsically, like society or the environment or whatever, and that carries into adulthood for a lot of people. And I think I think people who are very confident, in my opinion, are people who've gotten wins out of bad situations. Okay, and I think if you could stack those little wins over time, you can learn to sort of understand that not everything is finite and not everything is sort of really like doom and gloom and absolutely unavoidable. And I think that's sort of where confidence comes from. And I do feel bad for people who don't learn from bad experience, because I do feel like a lot of it, in a lot of cases, is just sort of they've gone through shit that just sort of has taught them that there's just no point in even trying to overcome bad situations. And that's a tough one to handle, you know, so... How are you today? I'm good, Smudgy. How are you doing? The voter base and the people running things? Yeah. Well, what are those? Are you talking about my crappy little boots down here? They'll be drawn eventually, I'm sure. Oh, are you talking about my big fat titties? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I did that. I do that sometimes. Sometimes I grow some memories. That's the thing I find so confusing. I feel like there's... Oh, yeah, I read that. Isn't your art on screen also AI? Yeah, if you sub to me on Patreon, I'll give you the exact prompts I used to generate this image, guys. Follow me on Patreon for more AI tips. I won't lie, I think it's a bit of a bias for Christians because they don't tend to be critical of anything that involves God or Jesus. My mom is a very Catholic lady, okay? And when I grew up, like, you know, my grandma was even worse when it came to religion. And I feel like the idea of praying away your problems, in my opinion, was very detrimental, because it just sort of it took like the fairy tale. Well, look, this is gonna get a little too based, okay? But I'm not a particularly religious person. I'm not anti-religion, to be clear. But I do think that if you're using religion as an alternative path to actually confronting problems, you can set yourself up for really big negatives. Now there are a lot of positive things to be gleaned from religion too, right? So I don't want to just poo-poo religion. I'm just coming from a point of experience here with my family, where I saw like the way that my mom still kind of buys into a lot of like woo-woo shit. Like she goes to see like psychics for like life advice and shit like that, and it's like, oh my god, mom, stop, you know? And I've always been someone who's very I don't know. Not to it sounds very self-glazy to say logical, because like what is logic, right? But I do think that I sort of think a little bit more critically sometimes when it comes to stuff like that. I was thinking maybe I'll get back on Instagram a few moments ago scrolling. I want to claw my eyes out. Yeah. IG something. Have you heard of the cookie jar theory? It helps me a lot, specifically when I'm very burned out about something. What is that? I don't think I've heard of that at all. I view religion as a very human institution, and as a result, it doesn't have a lot of human flaw. It does have a lot of human flaws. I do have a conceptualization of God, but it doesn't really come in the form of a giant old man who grants wishes in the sky. I agree too. I think religion is a good source of community. It's like, if you're somebody who's not very good at critical thought, okay, and you can't sort of discern morality or values independent of like some sort of institution, I think religion is actually a pretty good medium for you to get some sort of moral framework. Genuinely. That being said, there are a lot of flaws with it too. My opinion on God is I don't know whether it's real or not real. I tend to lean in the category of there's probably something greater out there, but I just don't know what it is. So I just don't put a lot of emotional stock or moral stock into it for me personally. I think that's sort of my view on it, but I'd probably categorize myself as like agnostic more than anything. Cookie jar is you store past achievements to help push through things, focusing on your wins to remind you of your strengths. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier, basically. So like, I call it like the snowball. I call it like the confidence snowball. So you get like one little win, and then that gives you like fuel to take on another challenge. And then once you get that, your snowball gets bigger and bigger over time. And it's easy that snowball could break too if you go through really like strong traumatic experiences. But it can also get bigger and bigger to the point where you feel like unstoppable. Like if you ask me today, like if somebody put me in a situation, like let's say they put me in some sort of simulated environment where the only way to survive is for me to become like, I don't know, proficient at some sort of skill, like coding or fucking whatever, I genuinely have the confidence to think that I could power through and get myself through that. Now, can I objectively in a real material sense? I don't know. But I intrinsically, internally, feel like I could. And that, I think, is strong enough and powerful enough to sort of get people to do things that they never thought that they could do, right? And that comes from like a compounding effect of having a bunch of wins throughout my life. Religion's also good at building community, but community can also insulate you from critical thought. Yeah, 100%, right? That's what I mean. Like, there are pros and cons. I think... like the diet version of religion, where you're not like a super hardcore practicing person, but you sort of still intrinsically believe in a lot of the values and morals, is probably like a good middle ground on that. As much as people like to joke about like the Western Christians who, don't really like practice their religion or go to church that much, there's still some value to glean from that. There's also a lot of negatives too, right? I mean, you could see it in like the West right now, especially with like the anti-immigration sentiment and sort of like that type of view. But I think that's sort of like co-opted by more nefarious like ideologies. I think I've just been drilled by my family that whatever I don't achieve is just a result of me being too lazy. So they kind of get me to take more responsibility about my actions, even if it was probably more traumatic in school as well. Yeah. I joke sometimes. The reality is it's not really a joke, but I do kind of joke about how a lot of my sort of motivation comes from the insecurity of just not being good enough at things. And I joke about being fueled by insecurity, but I do think there's truth to that. I think the reality is I am kind of fueled by insecurity, and I do want to be sort of valued for being good at a thing or better at a thing, and I think sort of having that I don't know. I'm aware of it, you know, and I don't let it like control me too much. But there is a part of me as an artist or as an online creator that sort of wants to be valued for my work. Now, the separation for me is I don't really want me as a person to be necessarily in the limelight, but I do want my work to be recognized. The real human superpower is the ability to fool yourself. It's a skill that has to be honed. I genuinely think that. I think if you can literally like fucking like psyop yourself into fucking believing that you're way better at a thing than you are and that you can accomplish that thing, you're way more likely to actually accomplish that thing. It's like a weird like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like you have to delude yourself into thinking that you're the shit to be able to be the shit, if that makes sense. Like I feel like that mentality needs to come before you actually are the shit, and you need to have like almost a deluded like fantasy about being the best to become the best, if that makes sense. Fake it till you make it. Exactly. Yes, exactly, Smudgy. For me, God isn't really a separate entity, but it's like a collective accumulation of all things. Kind of how atoms make cells, and cells make organs, and organs make people and other living things. I just logically extend that past individual, creatures, and objects into the entirety of all existence. If anything were to be a god, that's what I think would make the most sense. That's sort of how I think of it too. There's probably some sort of interconnectedness to the whole thing, in a way. I feel like unless it gets actually proven that some otherworldly being is living alongside us, I just don't believe into religion until then. That's fine. And I think that's sort of my stance too. As I remember, there is a study or experiment about tricking. Oh, Neoni Yoshi, I saw your message. And don't delete it, dude, because that was really valuable. I think that was a good little insight you put in there. So Neoni Yoshi on YouTube mentioned that there are studies on this, and it's true. I've read some of those studies. So one thing about habit formation in particular, and sort of like let's say you're the study I think the one that I don't know if it's the same one you're mentioning, Neoni, but the one I'm thinking of was on exercise and being willing to lose weight and keep weight off. So about 5% of people who attempt to lose weight actually manage to keep their weight off. And what they found was the people who actually manage to keep the weight off adopt fitness as a personality trait, and they really deeply perceive themselves as that thing. And that kind of manifests in a way where you kind of become that annoying guy who doesn't stop talking about working out, or how obsessed you are about sort of tracking your macros or whatever the fuck. And it might be annoying for people, but that type of behavior really sort of solidifies and cements those habits into sort of sticking long term. And I think it's very similar with accomplishment, entrepreneurship, you know, being good at art, whatever it is. I think if you could delude yourself into forming that as a core part of your identity, then you're going to be a lot more successful at actually accomplishing those things that you want. I feel like unless it gets actually insecurity is the thing that drives me to some extent. Same. For me, I don't think believing in something as incomprehensible as an almighty God is the best. I love the idea of worshiping your ancestors and what they stood for, but I read Nietzsche, and therefore it's automatically lame. Isn't Nietzsche like a fucking isn't he a nihilist where he just thinks that there's no like meaning in anything, where like you shouldn't really like I don't want to misrepresent nihilism, but isn't it the concept that nothing really matters at the end of the day? So there's, you know, whatever you do doesn't actually have any sort of meaning. I feel like I believe that's probably true in a grand scheme of things, you know, like if I just stop showing up to work tomorrow, the world's not going to end. Nothing's going to really change too much. But no, Nietzsche's anti-nihilism. Okay, where you have like explain it to me then, because I don't think I get what you're saying. You're saying what you're saying is your intrinsic motivation for like doing things doesn't come from an external factor. It comes from your like core unshakable faith in yourself type of thing. Is that it? Because I feel like that kind of aligns with what we're talking about. But I feel like some people also need that intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic, I should say, not intrinsic. Gaslight yourself, exactly. Mine is anxiety, specifically during comms. I don't like comms because it gives me anxiety. That's why I don't do them. And I don't like, I work too slow, so it's just not worth my time. I mean, I think Nietzsche's view on religion isn't exactly incorrect, but I do think it lacks in nuance in other aspects that religion fulfills other than the belief system after you die. He's lame, but I do think one important message he brings is that people should try and learn why they have the morality they do and where it comes from. He also thought atheism would maybe save our morality, but in fact, it's that atheism in the West is basically still Christian. I think my views on morality are weird, because I don't think I'm a sociopath. I don't think I am. I think I'm very sort of neurotypical. But I do think I have like sociopathic tendencies, especially towards empathy and understanding other people's emotions. And the example to that is mostly not through like harming other people. That's not what I mean, okay? Because I feel like I'm painting a bad picture of myself. What I mean is in social interactions, I struggle to sort of understand what makes people uncomfortable. I guess that makes me sound like I'm a fucking weird creep. That's not quite it either. I have a bad filter, okay? And I think that stems from me not being easily offended by things, and I think I associate that. I assume other people feel the same about me or about things that I do. And so I tend to say things that sometimes are offensive to some people, and that consequently leads to sort of having like a tougher dynamic in that social interaction. And I don't think it's that, you know, I don't really know what it is, but I think because of that, when it comes to social interactions, I feel like I've had to build like a moral framework for myself through learning and experience to be able to make sure that I don't sort of cross boundaries or hurt somebody's feelings. And it comes from a position of actually caring for other people, but not fully understanding sort of what offends people and what doesn't. Does that make sense? I don't know. That's sort of my view on it, I guess. So it's like when we're talking about morality and stuff, I feel like my framework for morality is partly intuitive when it comes to sort of like, you know, empathizing with others. Like I feel pain when I see other people get hurt or animals get hurt or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. But when it comes to social interaction, I think it's very difficult to offend me through social interaction, and so I project that onto other people as well, where sometimes I'll say things inappropriate, and I feel like sometimes it's not received the way that I would have expected it to be received. And because of that, I've had to sort of build almost like a manual way of how to interact with people, like where it's a lot more conscious and deliberate, because I just don't have that baseline sort of instinct for navigating social interactions. It's not like it's not like autism, but I guess it kind of is, like, in a way, I guess. But anyways, all that to say, I think I'm very neurotypical, but I'm just kind of lacking in that department. Yes, but no, I think his argument is that things don't have an inherent meaning to them. It allows individuals to determine what the value and meaning of their life is, and the meaning becomes a lot more personalized and meaningful, ironically. Okay, well, that way, in that sense, I think I align a lot more with Nietzsche's philosophy on sort of morality and sort of how to conduct yourself. Me with 10 comms to finish right now. Anxiety masking right now. What up, Cryptic Kitchen? How you doing, dude? You're catching us in, like, the fucking deepest conversation ever right now. We're talking about morality, life, intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation, what drives people, whether it's anxiety, fear, how people get locked into, like, thinking that they can never accomplish things, and how people sort of, you know, build confidence. And I was saying that confidence is sort of built through an accumulation of, like, mini wins that snowball into feeling that you can take on bigger and bigger challenges over time. You know? Just a bunch of shit like that or whatever, but... Fuck. Yumbo, thank you for the follow. Kasak, same. I actually lost, not dead, not friends anymore, but people because of it. Yeah, I have too. And I think, you know what's interesting? Okay. This is gonna sound, we're getting base now, alright? I'm gonna get a little base. I'm warning you guys. So when I grew up, I played hockey. I almost exclusively hung out with dudes. And the one area I really, really, really struggled with navigating in early adulthood, and I think a lot of guys actually struggle with this, was social interactions with women. I was really bad at talking to women. Not in like a creepy, like sexual like way or anything like that. It was more like, I feel like I said, like, I talked to like the girls in my life or just people in my life the same way I would like my dumbass druggy like red pill friends that like I knew in like high school and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like I just sort of, I feel like I had a lot more friction where I just, because I didn't hang out with chicks a lot growing up, I really had to like relearn how to interact with people. Like like in adulthood. I don't know how to explain it. It was like a weird thing that took me quite a lot of trial and error and a lot of pissing people off to sort of be like, oh damn, okay, maybe I need to fucking fix the way I like talk to people. And that's not to say that like chicks are this alien thing to dudes, okay? You can have that same problem with guys. But I do feel that there is a different dynamic sometimes. And I think for guys, a lot of guys don't really realize sometimes that they can be overly abrasive when they're talking to women. There's different dynamics, right? Like if I'm a dude, if you catcall me on the street, that's not gonna have the same impact to me as it is to a woman. There's a different physical dynamic there, right? Like if a guy is like sexually threatening to me, it's not going to intimidate me to the same degree because I feel like the physical difference there is completely different. Whereas if you flip that and you made the guy like 7 feet tall, incredibly horny, and all he wanted to do was fuck me, I'd probably be terrified in that interaction, right? And I feel like sometimes that's how some dudes can come off to chicks. And I think, you know, that underlying sort of dynamic between like different sexes sort of plays into everyday conversations that I feel like is very nuanced that people don't really pick up on it sometimes. And I think that's something I struggled with for a very long time. Just like aggressive ways of speaking, I think. So I had to sort of reprogram that a little bit. If people get jealous, if people get offended, they're just jealous of you. At least the case for me, and like every time it happened, that's true. But Kitcott, you're a beautiful Adonis. You're like a Greek statue of a man. So, you know, it's not comparable to the average populace. 100 Acres. I've had similar experiences. I used to work at a jail, and with a lot of ex-military dudes, I'm used to saying wild stuff. Now that I work in a corpo environment, I have to curb my language to be more corpo. Yeah, that's another thing. Work environments are another thing, like, where you have to be very, very different. Sometimes I hear people talk at work, I'm like, dude, you're playing with fire, you know? You're good, I'm digging it? Hell yeah. Confidence is a weird, fickle thing. Yeah, it is. And we were talking about, I think the one thing I mentioned talking about the confidence thing was I feel like a lot of people early on in life, they get really beat down because if you're a kid, you just don't have a lot of opportunities to actually fix bad situations. And so it's a lot easier for you to sort of learn that if a bad thing happens to you, you're fucked, you know? And so you should just sort of play, like, it's learned helplessness, essentially, right? If a bad thing happens to you, blame things extrinsically rather than, like, trying to overcome it through, like, intrinsic means. And I feel like that carries into adulthood, where it leads to different outcomes for different people, where some people sort of, because they've been able to learn, like, to be able to overcome obstacles, they carry that into adulthood and they're a lot more confident and they're able to get through a lot more difficult things later on in life. Whereas if you learn the opposite growing up, the second a bad thing happens in adulthood, you feel overwhelmed and fucked and helpless, and you just shut down. And I don't think people realize, like, how much that sort of can sort of I don't know. It's crazy to think how much, like, your experiences early on in life can really form your behavior later. But Jadu, I get that. I got a lot better at it once I developed some female friends. I realized that the dynamic is very different than talking to guys. I actually prefer it a lot to you having all male friends. I think, you know what it is? I think my understanding of it, I think guys are just kind of fucking dumb when it comes to understanding how they like the other person feels. This is a sensitive topic, so I feel like whatever, fuck it. I'm just gonna jump into it. I feel like dudes have a really hard time interacting and emotionally understanding how other people feel within an interaction. And I think sometimes when guys see women sort of being nice and being positive to each other, a lot of guys see that, and I've heard, like, the knee-jerk reaction of guys being like, oh, these chicks are being fake, they're overly nice and kind to each other. I think they're just more attuned to sort of the emotional state of the other person. And I think guys don't really have that we're not as trained on it as women are. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, for the most part, like, if you're a woman, like, there are, like, things going wrong in a social interaction, there are a lot more consequences, right? Whereas if you're a guy, you have the physicality to sort of, like, maybe get out of that situation. And I think sort of because of that, like, a lot of dudes just never really learn to be empathetic towards other guys. And I think it's why a lot of guys also have a hard time opening up to each other and being vulnerable in sort of guy-on-guy interactions. But anyways. To be frank, I'm a woman and I find it hard to talk to women most of the time. Hence, most of my friends are guys. I get that. I feel like it wasn't until I went to animation school that I sort of really had like mixed gender groups. I think before that, I just had a lot of dudes in my life that I talked to, and we talked. It was basically like locker room talk, 24/7, you know. And I think like once you start like interacting with people of different walks of life, even different cultures and stuff like that. It's not even just gender based. It's just sort of like you become more educated on how to behave yourself in different situations, and you broaden your toolkit for social interaction. And I think that's something that's that I've learned growing up. And I think when I was younger, I probably would have had a more brash reaction to be like, these people are just sensitive, whatever, blah blah blah. Let them be baby bitches about like the insane shit I'm saying or whatever. But I think as you get older, you kind of understand that being able to navigate different social interactions and being able to actually tailor the way you speak to different people and to understand people from different points of view is really like a tool to help you get like way farther in life and to sort of have healthier relationships, have healthier interactions with people, and just to be a better person overall. So it sounds soy and blue pill and cucked or whatever, but I think it's base as fuck. So, it's the art of balancing on the line, appearing confident, and being reported for sexual harassment. I don't necessarily just mean it in like a sexual sense though. I just kind of use that because it's the most like obvious example. But I do think it applies to like everything, right? It doesn't just necessarily mean like sexual tension or dynamics or whatever. Chicks aren't kind to each other. Some wild things I hear girls tell me about their girlfriends. I mean, you're gonna get that in both sides though, right? It's not just like a chick thing, guy thing. Like, I think the reality is like you're gonna get nasty people on both sides of the aisle. I'm speaking like just generally though, in terms of how people naturally like talk to each other, not in like conflict situations. I think there's differences to be had there too, but actually, I read a lot of philosophy around this topic. The way men are socialized generally means that we're taught to neuter all of our emotions aside from sadness and anger. We're often talked down because of emotional expression. As a result, we have a tendency to be much more comfortable when the only expression of emotion we have is anger. There's a specific time for it called male normative alexithymia or something like that. Huh. I will say I do feel like it depends on my group, and in my case I have friends that I made later on in life in like college and stuff, and then I have like high school friends, and hanging out with them there's two completely different ways of interacting. I don't think I would ever be vulnerable with my high school friends because I think they're fucking lunatics, okay? And they're fun to hang out with and they're chill. But I feel like we developed a dynamic just because we knew each other when we were teenagers that followed us into adulthood that like if I said anything like remotely sensitive around these dudes, they would fucking chew me up and spit me out and call me all kinds of slurs and insane shit. And I just feel like in like meeting like people in adulthood when I was a little bit more established in my personality and stuff, I feel like I've been able to have deeper relationships through that almost in a way because you could sort of explore things like you could be crass, but you can also sort of have real life conversations and shit with these people. To be honest, though, whenever I talk to my girlfriends, there's always the thought of it. What am I gonna say? What am I gonna offend or get negative reactions? It can be a bit stressful, but I'm with the guy. But with the guys, I can just be base without me overthinking it, what they might think. But okay, so there's one thing I want to touch on that though, because I feel like it's not that guys aren't getting offended. My thing is, I think guys are just less likely to be vocal about it. Whereas I think I really think like the reality is if my buddy smells like shit or something, part of me feels like. Maybe it smells like shit is not a good example. But if there's something, if my buddy's doing a behavior that's like bad or wrong, I feel like I'm a lot less likely to tell him than a girl would be. And I think that's why sort of guys sometimes feel like you can get away with saying more shit. But I don't know that it's necessarily that you're not bothering the guys. I think they're just going to be a lot less likely to vocalize that you're bothering them. Which I don't know is necessarily a good thing, you know? It's okay, Smudgy. I'm a girl who loves talking to other girls, so it evens out. Kim, I'm gonna be real with you. I thought you were a dude this whole time. I don't know why. I just assumed you were a dude. Neo Neoshi. In the end, I believe it really depends on the environment men and women grow in and how their everyone's views are shaped. Yeah, for sure, for sure. We're generalizing here, but I 100% agree with that. Nah, chicks are more nasty in my opinion. I never really heard that much shit talk behind people's back. I think guys rarely do that, or at least not as explicitly. Uh, I think social like let's say you have a confrontation with another person. I definitely do think there's some truth that like you know, social tactics are used a little bit more like by chicks, but I don't think it's like inherently a girl thing, and I don't think it's like 100% fair to say that like women are particularly nasty at doing that. I do think it is like a thing that women like do a little bit more than guys, but I don't think guys are immune from talking shit or doing stuff like that or doing like reputational attacks either, you know. So I do think we have to be careful with like sort of taking those viewpoints, but yeah, I don't know. This is a tough, I will say as a streamer, this is a very difficult conversation for me to navigate, especially as a dude streamer. I'm trying to be very, very cognizant. So if I sound like I'm devil's advocating or trying to play both sides here, I am, okay? I am, because I'm terrified. I'm quivering in my boots right now. I think girls usually operate on a sort of higher level socially. Most guys are cruel to each other up front in the open, and girls can be cruel with an alibi. That's, I mean, not the second part to that, but I think the first part is kind of what I'm saying. I do think dudes, I do think dudes sort of are just like less emotionally intelligent on a whole. Sorry, boys, but I just kind of feel that way a little bit. I've had dude do a lot of the same things that women are being accused of here. Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. I don't think it's unique to one sex or the other. I think it can happen on both sides for sure. What I'm trying to say is I think like when it comes to social interaction and my issue with sort of in the past not being able to really recognize like the emotional impact that I had on other people, I think that's just because I didn't have as much training on it growing up as like some other people did. Not the ad sniping me. Oh shit. Owned. Watching this McDonald's commercial. You know what? With the ads, I'm gonna take a 2-second break. I'm just gonna go make a little snack. BRB, gonna take a snack. We're gonna make food back in a minute. Someone just raid my ass. Bud Mom, how you doing? Hello. You're catching me in the middle of an ad. I was also stepping away to just grab some food real quick. What are you up to today, Bud Mom? Let me give you a little shout out. We're having a very edgy conversation right now. Last category, art. I don't know if you can hear me if you're watching ads. If you want to share anything, you're more than welcome to, dude. Did some work, kind of a speed order. I'm alert, getting some food too. All right, do your thing. I was out for a bit. What are we talking about? All right, guys. All right. We're gonna chill out. We're gonna chill out on the topic. I can feel tensions rising. So I think we're gonna mellow out on this topic. I think I'm gonna sort of start vetoing the conversation topic. But to wrap it all up, I think I tend to lean a little bit more with what Encrypted and Kim are saying. I think people tend to overgeneralize, and I don't think it's reasonable. I know KitKat, I hear what you're saying too, and I've had those thoughts before in the past, but I think the more you interact with people, the more you realize that it just doesn't align with reality. And as much as it sounds sort of like woo-woo to say that everybody's independent and a different person, I think there is some truth to it. Bun Mom, you are going to be my segue into a new topic because everybody is sharing very, very strong opinions, which, you know, it's all fun and games. But I'm curious, Bun Mom, what were you working on? Do you have anything you want to share today? Do you want to share any artwork? Anything? Love segues? That's right. Perfect opportunity. You've given me my bridge out of this like sweat-inducing conversation. I also like that Neoni over there on YouTube is just watching the drama unfold. Can someone follow so I can awoo? You can awoo on your own, dude. You don't need me. Can I show some goodies I finished? Let me toss them where? You can drop a link in chat. There's no restrictions. I'll pull them up on stream and we'll show what you got. Also, guys, can you hear me crunching this carrot? I feel like I don't know how much my mic picks up, but I'm snacking hardcore right now. A little, but it's like ASMR. You like that shit, Sextra? You guys like a little carrot ASMR? You hear no crunches? What about now? I'm sorry, guys. I'm never doing this again, alright? I'm sorry. Please don't leave. Ooh, I think one could be fun. Shows a bit of ass, though. I mean, as long as there's no asshole, I think Twitch is going to be fine with that. If she's showing her a little chocolate starfish, maybe I won't pull it up. I'll look at it on another stream. Fuck you, Snack. Yeah, fuck you too, KitKat. Wait, how am I the edgy one? I feel like I became the scapegoat. You're the most beautiful, handsome, and Greek god-looking guy in the chat, so I have to use you as my stepping stool to get out of heated situations. Just the way it is, dude. Sometimes beauty works that way. Alright, what we got? We got an Instagram. This is quite a bit of ass. I don't know if I can show this on Twitch. Mostly because there's just no underwear. You know, it's just like actual, just like bare butt cheeks. I'll show the top half. How about that? All right, let's take a look at Bun Mom's drawing here. Here's Bun Mom's drawing of the upper half of a woman on a beach, okay? You guys can fill in with the imagination the other half, alright? Different count to stream/work. Oh, funny. I did draw it on stream, no issues. That's true. I've drawn some risque stuff too on stream, but I've been playing it safer lately. I don't know that Twitch always enforces rules evenly across the board, and some days they might just decide that bare butt cheeks is too much. Oops. So better safe than sorry. Twitch doesn't mind. Don't gaslight me, chat. I'm taking my stance on this one. But yeah, dude, I really like the colors. Really nice. I appreciate the raid. Nah, you do you, man. Still can't understand how I get away with some of the goods. Hey. You do what you gotta do, you know? to get that paper. A plethora of ass. Snack hiding them cakes from us. It's all mine, guys. Or it could be yours for the low fee of following Bun Mom on Instagram. Show us the risque stuff snack. I mean, the most risque stuff I've done is probably, like, if you go to my Instagram profile, probably the girl with the PP on her chest. If you know, you know. Alright, if you don't, you gotta check it out, I guess. I've never done not safe for work, because I'm a little prude, okay? I wear turtlenecks and I wear double layers of underwear to make sure that I'm not slutting it up in the streets, so you're never gonna get not safe for work from me. The Lord is giving me full access to heaven, VIP access. I'm getting straight in. Boo, that's right. Fuck you, Snack. Fuck you. I know. I felt like lewd / artistic nude is chill, but not safe for work is nah. Yeah, it totally is. I think it's fine. I have heard of instances where Twitch has just, like, fucking, like, nuked the channel just for something that was seemingly fine. So I tend to, these days, err on the side of caution. But you're probably fine drawing stuff like this. But part of me instinctually still feels like there's a little bit of a dice roll. Turtlenecks are cool. You're such an Eastern European dude. Unless you're like a university professor here in Canada, people don't really wear turtlenecks. Or maybe if you're skiing, I guess, but... Oh, this one's def a bit worse? Well, thank you for dropping it in my chat, dude. Guys, you know what to do. Go follow Bun Mom, and with that, we've successfully segued out of an edgy conversation into talking about ass and tits, which is a normal topic for a Cat Snack stream, so I appreciate you raiding me at the opportune time, Bun Mom. You've saved my skin a little bit. With your skin, ironically. Bun Mom, if you want to share any links to where people can follow you other than Instagram, if you got a Twitter account, if you got a Blue Sky, Rule 34, OnlyFans, whatever. Maybe not those last two, but you know, whatever you got, dude. Drop it in chat. One day I feel like I'm going to say that joke, and somebody's actually going to link their OnlyFans, and I'm going to stop saying that joke, but... Speaking of ass and tits, do a jiggle. We got to do a jiggle redeem. Oh, he'd be jiggling. He'd jiggle, dude. It'd be jiggling indeed, alright? See? Okay, maybe sometimes I show a little skin, alright? Do a jiggle. We got the double do a jiggle. It's jiggling, guys. It's jiggling. God, you guys love the titties so much. Fun fact, my chat redeems this redeem so much that people actually think my default state is to be a mouse with double Ds, okay? I'm not. I'm a little boy mouse, alright? With a flat chest. But I've given a little bit of privilege to chat, and they've ran with it, so... Now everybody who joins my channel thinks that I naturally have big fat natties, so... I think I've only seen double D mouse. That's what I'm saying, dude. See what you guys are doing? You're making me look bad. Cryptid's my peer. We're colleagues in this space. And now she thinks I'm some slutted up mouse. Just draping my big fat titties on my tablet all day. Flat is back, thank you, Jadu. Bringing order back to the scenario. I can see my screen once again. There we go. We don't mind slutted up mouse. I know you don't. You guys are freaks. What about your OnlyFans? Life's not that bad for me yet. I haven't gotten to that point. Maybe when cash gets a little bit more strapped, you'll get a little foot action. But for now, my bills are being paid, so we're good. Are they your nuts? Well, that's sort of the lore here. Because mice have, like, comically large testicles, it's never been, like, clarified whether the breasts I have are breasts or if they're my nuts being forced through my shirt. So it's a little bit of Schrodinger's nuts. You don't really know whether it's nuts or tits, but just, you know, whatever you want it to be. It's kind of like a director, you know, with a mysterious end to a movie. You can interpret it however you want. Every single time someone new is here or a raid happens or anything, we get the jiggle. I know. I'm gonna hop out for lunchies. Sub sandwich time. All right, Bun Mom. Thank you for the follow, or thank you for the raid. I appreciate you. Go take care of yourself, do your thing, and get out of here. Japanese tanuki kind of build. What about me? What about my mouse, dude? Call me a tanuki? I mean, they're kind of like kawaii. I'm a little kawaii guy, you know? Alright, what the hell was I doing? I've been, I spent 3.5 hours drawing about 3 fingers here, but there was an intention to draw way more. But anyways, how are you guys doing today? How's your day going? I still have to crack my orange. I did genuinely mean to eat, but I heard the raid notification in my headphones, and I felt like it'd be a bit of a dickhead if I was just like stuffing my face in the other room while somebody was being ungreeted. And also the concept of somebody raiding in the middle of that conversation made me sweat. Can you stop speaking Japanese? I'm that close to ending it all. Alright, easy, bro, easy. You're being so edgy today. What's gotten into you? Thanks. You're welcome. Alright. How do you guys peel oranges, by the way? I feel like people always like side-eye me, because whenever I eat an orange, I bite into the peel to actually create like a little seam for me to run my fingers through to actually be able to open it. I chew my nails a little bit, and so my nails aren't super duper long, so I can't really rely on them to break the skin of the orange peel. So I have to bite into it like an animal. Anybody else do that? People kind of cringe when they see me do it, but it's really not that bad. I supreme my oranges? What the hell does that mean? I'm trying to rapidly make progress on this drawing because I gave myself an arbitrary deadline of today, and I only made the sketch phase, so I'm gonna quickly color it, and I'll sort the line art later. Do you still need feedback on it, or are you chilling? I'll be streaming tomorrow, so you can always send it to me then too. It's gonna be a little later though. I know you're in the UK, so I'm gonna be streaming at like 5:30 p.m. but EST. It's a way of cutting an orange to remove all the white stuff and the membrane between the segments. Huh. You got Gordon Ramsay in here. What do you have like do you need a contraption for that, or can anyone do it? I just stab it with my nail. See, I don't have nails. Well, I do. I mean, I'm not smooth fingered. I don't have like fucking ET fingers or something, but just a knife? Okay, I got you. I just asked someone to help me peel it. You get your carer to help you out. Okay. Oh my god, dude, this orange peel is so thick. My orange looked massive, and then I peeled it, and it's actually so small compared to... This is the fucking weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. Why is my orange peel so goddamn thick? I feel like my orange is like half the size I thought it was gonna be. I got ripped off, dude. What the fuck? I'd appreciate feedback, but it might be better if I wait a little bit. I'll see how far I get in about 30 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna probably stream for 4 hours, maybe 4.5 today, just because my shoulder's killing me a bit. So I might wrap it up a little earlier than I normally do. But if you want to share your stuff at some point, let me know. Even if I need to go a little longer, I'll run through it. I'll give you like a quick little 10-minute critique or something. Just a knife. Okay, so what's supreming? Is it like a cutting method or something? Hope your shoulder feels better soon. Okay, yeah, I mean, I know I talk a lot of shit about my shoulder, but the truth is, it's been getting a lot better. For context, guys, I used to work out. I did a lot of bodybuilding, like, a few years ago, and I fucked my shoulder up from, like, I was doing a lot of overhead pressing, and just a lot of, like, shoulder work, and I gave myself tendinosis, and it's just been, like, so long to heal. And it's been taking a really long time, and I've been doing active physio. But this year has been, like, I've gotten the most improvement ever. And I have a really bad personality trait of overdoing things. And so I was overdoing my physio and just delaying myself from, like, actually being able to fucking, like, recover. And as a consequence of that, you know, I haven't been healing as well as I could have. Mr. Strongman? Not right now. Right now, I'm a crippled little mouse, dude. I'm just drawing. Drawing anime babes. Dude, I'm an anime artist, alright? Whatever image you have of me in your head, it's probably not right. I'm way hotter, way handsomer, and way taller. Just throwing that out there. Whatever idealized version of me you have, it's probably that. 100% accurate, and you should probably get as parasocial as possible. It'll be good for you. Neoni Yoshi, I started from the bottom of the orange. Like, I used my thumbnail to press the middle of it, dent, and rip the peel from there on. Oh, I see. I can't do that. Have you tried getting a Senzu bean? That would be fucking awesome. Also, Alan X, thank you for the 3-stream streak. It's really hard to say. Yeah, it's the name for the cut style. You could do it with any citrus fruit. Okay, I'll have to look into it then. I do have a knife. And I do hate having white shit inside of my oranges. This kind of reminds me of how you're supposed to open a banana by pinching the top of it and then peeling it that way instead of twisting the top thing like they're doing in cartoons. Yo, fuck that, dude. I've seen that before. That's like some chimp shit, okay? I don't believe in that shit at all. First of all, opening a fucking banana is not even like a problem thing. Peeling an orange, you get orange and citrus juice all over your fucking self. That's a hassle. Having other techniques for that, totally valid. Peeling a banana, I've never peeled a banana and been like, oh my god, there needs to be a better way to do it. Like, it's not that deep, you know what I mean? If you come to me telling me that if I pinch the little fucking nipple at the bottom of the banana to open it instead of the top, okay, I'm just gonna roll my eyes at you. Don't give me that chimp technique, I don't want it. Chimps have been doing it for centuries, they probably know the meta. I mean, chimps haven't invented skyscrapers and shit, so I don't know if I want to default to their technique for things. Just saying. I could explain it, but honestly, a video explains it better. Okay. Well, you know what? I was gonna say send me a video. I could probably just Google it. If you want to send me a video, you can, but I'll look it up later. I don't believe in that it doesn't make a difference at all. The banana nip releases if you're pure of heart. Okay. Oh wow, I have 2.5k sack tax. Don't spend it all in one place, big guy. It doesn't really make a difference. The one thing I've noticed is that it doesn't smash the top of the banana. Okay. Maybe that's a little valid. I gotta wash my hands though. Speaking of messy fruits, I'm covered in citrus. BRB. We back. How to open a banana, I think. Yeah, chat's trying to gaslight me into thinking that the chimp method of opening a banana from the bottom is the way to do it. Not like, you know, humans are smarter or anything. Oh my god, I almost just grabbed an actual, like, real ink pen to draw my tablet. That would have been bad. 8K for me? Damn, big spender. You could redeem, like, tits 8 times. I don't have a lot of redeems. That's kind of the only options, really. I mean, humans are pretty smart, but there are a lot of things that we do that are extremely dumb. Tell me about it, dude. Jinkies. What up, Sammy? How you doing? Nah, I'm not redeeming stuff. Alright. Bro, gonna put it all in the stock market. Saving it for a rainy day. I see how it is. Will he or will he not draw? I don't know. Tired, but I have things to do? What are you doing? I gotta finish laundry? Oh my god, that reminds me. I gotta do laundry too. Guys, I ripped my pants last week. I'm down to like fucking 2 pairs of pants. I gotta go buy new pants. I'm gonna have to make a trip to like the Gap. That's where I buy all my clothes. Because I'm generic, okay? I need it for like corporate America, so I don't have to think too hard about what I wear. If it's khakis and a polo, I'm good. Rainy day, snack ASMR, yes. Oh, fuck, I forget that's a redeem. By the way, I'm very proud of those of you guys who have points and haven't done that redeem. Because that one genuinely hurts me to do. Bought work clothes from Walmart. Nice, that's basically what I'm going to be doing. I'm already noticeable enough in chat. ASMR is much more important. Is it? You get a kick out of it? When Big Larry came around just to put him down, SpongeBob turned into a clown, and no girl ever wants to dance with a fool who went and ripped his pants. Don't tell me these horror stories, dude. Alright, I'm the fool who ripped his pants. See, I want to render this, but I don't want to, like, over-render it, because I don't want it to draw the eye too much. But I don't want it to look like shit. Right now, it just looks like muddy shit. So the idea is basically trying to keep the rendering, like, polished down, so the focal area is still like the face, but also having it be moderately presentable. I do have enough for the ASMR, though. I know, you're like my biggest threat right now. Top 10 SpongeBob episodes. The best one is when Patrick and SpongeBob get roided up and fight in the ring or whatever. Is it Patrick and SpongeBob? I think it is. Or the tag team in the ring. Neoni, I'm going to go now. I really enjoyed your stream very much. I'm excited to join the next stream. Good night to everyone from this side of the earth. Our one YouTube chatter is going to bed, guys. Say bye to Neoni, all right? Thank you for coming out, Neoni. I appreciate you. I will catch you in the next one, which is tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. And if not, we'll see you next weekend for the same stream time. Bye-bye. See everybody saying bye. They love you, dude. You're going to be a star. If need be, I'll do my own ASMR. I've had some viewers say my voice puts them to sleep. Well, you know what they say about sleeping chatters? They keep your stream running and you just keep like milking them for AdSense, dude. It's awesome. You guys should, I encourage most of you guys to fall asleep to me. See, everybody's saying bye, dude. They love you. I actually have done that once. Fallen asleep to a streamer, or me. I did a little drawing yesterday, though. I know. I seen you live. I was lurking. You YouTube guy. Alright. Kika, I'm timing you out. Being a buzzkill. You're lucky I don't know how to time people out, but I'm looking for the command here. There you go. Just no kick caught. It's entirely personal. Fuck, I didn't spell your name right. I'm not the wrong guy. Just bear with me here, kick caught. You're about to vanish. Sent to the Shadow Realm. "600 seconds is a long time." Whoops. It's the only command I know, alright, so... The time is not reflective of the punishment, or the crime, but... See you in 10 minutes, I guess. No, see you soon, KitKat. Oh, what the fuck? A point was made this day. That's right. Oh, fuck me, dude. Okay. I gotta switch my eraser. Can't imagine Snack lurking. My streams are so random. Whatever, dude. I mean, sometimes I lurk and I'm not really there, you know? I just kind of like leave a lurk on people I know that are alive sometimes. Just kind of the way it be. Do I like that? I don't know. Are you going to blur the hatching line on the shoes? I don't know what I'm gonna do with them yet. I'm just kind of trying shit. I'm probably gonna rework it like entirely. What layer is this on? My favorite art streams are the ones I can fall asleep to. I don't consume a lot of art streams, actually. Yeah, especially since I can't fall asleep without something in the background. Streams are good to fall asleep to. Really, I'm the opposite. I need like total silence or I'm never falling asleep, dude. I could have anything on and I'll fall asleep if I'm tired enough. It's mainly ASMR stuff though. Really? Okay, so you guys like unironically actually listen to like ASMR stuff, eh? I don't think I can't like tank it. That's why it's probably why it's so painful for me to do. Just cause like I just always found it like uncomfortable a little bit. Unless it's like animals. I can listen to a dog crunching on like some snack or something, but I can't do it myself. Or I can't do it for a human. It's a little much. Yeah, my sleep schedule be messed up since I work graveyard shift. Damn, dude. I did that when I worked at McDonald's. I did the 11 to 7. It was brutal. I've been meaning to use the song request, but the playlist's so far I don't want to interrupt. You can drop whatever you want, dude. I don't mind. I will very rarely veto a song and skip it if I absolutely hate it, but you know, it's pretty rare. For the homies. Falling asleep with something in the background helps my brain shut the fuck up, but not ASMR. For me, I've talked about this a few times, but I have sleep issues, and I've been in like sleep therapy for it for like the past like 6 months, and I've finally gotten to the point where I can actually fall asleep in a reasonable time. Still going to bed fairly late, but my sleep time, my sleep efficiency's gone up. And my big issue, like you, is like rumination. I can't stop ruminating about stuff, and it's not even like negative stuff. Like a lot of the time, it's not even like, oh, my life is bad. Things are gonna be so bad tomorrow. It's not even shit like that. It's usually just like things I want to do. You know, like just like I should get up and go finish that piece, or I should do this, or whatever. That's like the stuff I ruminate about. It's honestly like positive, like fucking. I got like grind bros in my head. I got the entrepreneur rumination. Okay, as cringe as that is, and I found like I've managed to sort of tame it. And the way I did it is by reprogramming. Like I basically like conditioning myself like a dog to view my bed as nothing but a place to sleep. And there's a few ways you could do that. I don't know if you guys want me to go into it, but I'm gonna even this out a little bit. For videos with little to no talking, tapping sounds and scratching sounds. Okay. I'm gonna do this on a top layer here. Fuck you, Snack. Even chat appreciates me more than you. I'm glad you learned your lesson. Has it been 10 minutes? By the way, I think this was surprisingly the first time out. Impressive. You made it this far. I really didn't expect it. I just think the reason I timed out today was because I felt like after our last conversation, some people were getting very strong and opinionated on both sides. And I think because of that, I want to sort of reduce tension. And so even like jokes that elevated tension, like saying fuck you or whatever, I just wanted to just kill instantly. Just because everything was a little confrontational earlier. Under normal circumstances, I probably wouldn't have timed you out. I didn't know you're that sensitive about YouTube viewers. It's because they're more precious than you, Kid Cut. I only get one, okay? And so I have to treat them like a little, like a princess on a pedestal to make sure they come back. What I'm saying is you're expendable. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No. There's no like love preference over one or the other. But I do want to just make sure that you know, we keep it a little more civil. Expendable viewer. That's crazy. Expendable viewer. That's right. Only Kid Cut though, guys. Everybody else I love very much. I'm gonna wrap up at the 4-hour mark. Jadu, if you want to get a critique, I would say it's now or never type of deal. If not, we can always do it tomorrow. No biggie. I think I prefer doing it tomorrow just because I do want to have a hard out, but this coward streamer couldn't handle my aura. Yes. See how chill he's being, guys? Anyways, I'm out. Have a nice stream. Peace, dog. I appreciate you coming. Catch you in the next one, alright? Bosh, chat. Do you know what? I'm going to leave it till tomorrow. Unfortunately, I was summoned at a critical time, and unfortunately, all the work I did was erased, so it's going to take me like another 15 minutes or so to go back to where I was. Damn. Shit. Alright, let's find somebody to raid into. We might actually raid Melochi, because they were here earlier. I don't know if they're speaking Japanese, because they're... Oh no, they're not. They're not Japanese. I'm gonna raid it to Melochi, because he gave us a raid earlier. And, I am chill. I don't know why you make it like I'm some edgy racist Russian guy. No comment. Melo_chi. Underscore. There's 2 underscores there. Racist? You just added a little more of that one. Just had to really flavor it. Alright, guys. I appreciate you all coming out. We're going to raid into Melochi, and I will catch you all tomorrow or Friday or Saturday. Whenever you come back, I'll catch you then. Alright? Thanks for hanging out. Bye-bye.